Donkey, who's actually worse than those two. And I literally had to listen to a national person today be like, well, this means the Broncos they're not in the market for a quarterback. What?
Are you talking about the herd?
I'm not saying anything.
From 9 to noon here on the
No, not at all. I'm just saying, if your hot opinion, if the first thing that jumps into your mind.
Ben DiNucci.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah.
They have the Nooch.
They've got Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci, and Zach Wilson. And by the way, the reason why you think Zach Wilson can work in Denver is because it's close to Utah, which is where he's from. Oh my God. Is he like Wonder Woman? The closer he gets to like his homeland, he gets more powers? Like, this is the sort of take that just I'm like, oh my God, can we just get to the draft so we can please stop?
My buddy had a take that I want to believe in, and this is by acquiring Zach Wilson, anyone who bought a Russell Wilson jersey last couple years won't have to change it. And moreover, the Broncos don't have to feel bad for people coming back like, take back my Wilson jersey. No, we still have a Wilson. That
They're
works.
Force Zach Wilson to be number 3, although the Broncos have new uniforms, so that doesn't work.
Oh, I suppose you're right.
I don't like him.
Did you know that they're at a mile high? Did you know 5280?
Yes, I did know that.
They're really leaning into that.
But I don't like their new uniforms.
No one does.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh, I thought I was bringing a hot take.
No. The only uniform.
All right.
And
well,
I do not understand why.
I'll try again.
Why people will not embrace this. So they rolled out the new uniforms and everyone hates them. And then they had the one throwback that everyone loved. This is the same. Anytime someone redesigns a jersey, just make the throwback the normal one. Like, that's the one everyone wants. They did the Orange Crush throwback, and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't wait for him to wear that. I hate all the other ones. Just wear the throwback. This is the same thing for Philly, for Atlanta, for Seattle, for Tampa. Just make the throwback your main jersey because it's what everyone wants.
Why don't they hire you?
I don't know.
You know?
I think someone in an art department somewhere needs to justify their job. It's the only thing I can think of.
Well,
like we keep getting these uniform rollouts, and the only one that anyone likes is the throwbacks.
Now that I read that Ben DiNucci is part of the Broncos quarterback room, I think the herd was right.
Hey, they don't need a quarterback. Not at all.
Not anymore.
No,
not after hearing that.
No, not at all.
Okay, well,
by the way, I didn't say it was the herd. I don't know what you're talking about.
9 to noon here on the Fan.
No, it wasn't. I didn't say that.
The way you feel about what you're hearing right now is how I feel about everything related to the NFL draft.
It will break your spirit.
From the time the Super Bowl ends.
Yeah.
Well, no, and from the time the Super Bowl ends.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Can you tell me that here's an exercise. Tell me this. I want you to tell me something. Let's go all the way back to the Super Bowl, and then we take a couple weeks off, and then we start speculating about the draft.
Sure.
Okay, and then mocks start coming out, and you have the combine and everything. Tell me something that you have learned that is concrete in that time frame.
Oh, see, I'm a bit of a draft nerd. I'm not Andrew Nemec draft nerd, but I really like when people do deep film analytic stuff. So, like when someone is going to go through and break down Michael Penix, because I watched Michael.
Who's someone?
Colin
Cowherd?
Well, no, like Matt Miller is a draft guy.
Brian Baldinger's another one.
Yes,
Baldy
is a guy that I like.
An Odyssey guy.
Who is it? Sam Monson from Pro Football Focus does a really good job. So there's a lot of guys that, and even an analyst like Dan Orlovsky, I think does a really nice job.
Wait, there's a difference between learning about players.
Yes,
that's different.
I like learning about players.
But just because Baldy breaks someone down doesn't mean he's right.
No,
I mean, so there's a difference that I don't know that falls into the category that I'm trying to. Like
you're just talking about jockeying.
The draft. Yeah, just like where a player will go, who likes who, who's going to trade, it's all such dumb speculation.
It is. It's a soap opera, but
I guess people love it.
People love it, and the speculation. But like with I'll tell you, like Harbaugh has clearly come out and said that he is going to build a San Francisco 49ers-esque offense. That he wants to run the ball and control the middle of the field. So, I mean, I don't know if you didn't know that already, but Harbaugh is going to draft an O-lineman. or they're going to move back and take an O lineman and a tight end. So I think when you start looking at the draft and you say, okay, who is excited about moving up, or who really feels like they need a quarterback versus someone that's willing to kind of stay put, see the Raiders or the Broncos, something like that. I do find that stuff interesting. I just think, to your point, so much of it is such silly, wild speculation. So I enjoy taking a Trent Dilfer, like 35,000 foot view at this, because I am a football junkie. I do enjoy the strategy. I love team building. It's my favorite part, honestly, about the structure of the NFL is I think it's the most unique sport in the way you have to go about constructing a team. It's not like the NBA where if you get one or two guys, everything changes. Right? It doesn't work that way. You have to put together a team, and there's lots of different ways to do it. But there's the salary cap and everything that goes into that. I love roster construction. I think it's really interesting. And so that's why I like the draft.
No, I get it. I like the draft too. It's just, can we let them draft first?
Well,
can we get some data?
Yeah.
And then when you have the data, you now you can talk about things that are tangible.
And it drives me, and the other one that drives me a little bit batty is when people that are not, like, if I said, if Matt Miller is talking about, again, just the first name that came to my mind, but if he's talking about Spencer Rattler, right, at least I know that he went through and watched Spencer Rattler. But some of the people that are on these things, they have not watched one second.
I heard that about Bo Nix today.
Yeah.
And I don't really consume a lot of draft pregame, but I heard a little something today. And this person told me in 5 seconds that they had not seen Bo Nix play.
Yes. And that stuff drives me.
And even I knew that.
That stuff drives me
and there's
insane.
so much of that.
It's lazy. It's, like you can.
It's just getting clicks, man.
Yeah, you can sit there and say, I don't know why people can't be more honest and be like, look, I haven't consumed a lot of Spencer Rattler. This is what seems to be the consensus from people that do watch Spencer Rattler, or any of the guys that are going to be, second, third, fourth round picks.
Well, isn't
the Drake May stuff? It's like,
they're fighting for clicks, we're fighting for wins.
Isn't it easier to position yourself as a draft analyst or draft like beatnik,
yes,
than in any other realm? Maybe sports betting.
Yeah,
is pretty easy to, because people are just like, oh, that guy's on the radio. He likes that bet. I'll take, like there really isn't any sort of qualification.
No, not really.
It's just how much homework you want to do on it.
Yes.
It's like the easiest way to bust into sports media is
just be a draft guy.
Pretend you know what you're talking about with regards to the NFL draft or sports betting, and someone will pick you up.
Well, that's how Mel Kiper, that's how he got started. Mel just, when he
created a role that didn't exist.
Yes, and he convinced people, or convinced one person, that he was a draft guy,
and there was a need for that,
and
I get that.
And if there's nobody else doing it, then you can claim yourself as the expert because you don't have competition that proves otherwise.
One hundo P, but now there's 850 of them.
Yes, and
it's obnoxious.
Just be careful about where you're getting the information. And what you're listening to.
Well, but there isn't information. Like today I heard, the Vikings are going to trade up. Well, how do you know that? No one knows that. The fact that somebody said that means that they're probably not, because there's smoke screening.
Yeah, that's the other one in this time of year is people play stuff so close to the chest that, I'll go back to the Patrick Mahomes one. Like Mahomes, when we went into that draft, what was that, 6 years ago, right? 6-ish when Mahomes got drafted.
Hey, Mitchell Trubisky, man.
Hey, Mitch Trubisky. Well,
the Bears passed on Mahomes for Trubisky.
No one really thought much of Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech. I think
Andy Reid did.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It turns out a lot of people thought something of Pat
Sean
Mahomes.
Payton did.
Yes. There was a handful of coaches that were like, that guy. And not a single pundit.
Yeah, they didn't have that.
They didn't have it. And you know why? Because Andy Reid and Sean Payton and the 5 or 6 other people were like, everyone shut the F
your
up.
Mouth.
I think this kid is going to be really good. And everyone seems to be kind of quiet on him. There were people that weren't even willing to fly him out for a one-on-one interview because they didn't want anyone to know that they were considering him. They kept that thing so close to the vest. And then when Kansas City moved up to draft him, And when they had already Alex Smith, dude, there were people like, I don't know what Kansas City's doing. Like, they have a Pro Bowl quarterback, and here's a kid who was never, great at Texas Tech, and, blah, blah, blah.
Misfire.
Well,
Who was their Pro Bowl quarterback?
Alex Smith.
Oh, he's a Pro Bowler?
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler. Alex Smith's good. Alex Smith was a good quarterback and kept taking him to the playoffs. He just, he wasn't.
Time for an upgrade.
Yeah, it was time for an upgrade. And the fact that Andy Reid looked at Pat Mahomes and was like, oh no, we're moving up to grab him. That should have been enough for everyone to be like, keep an eye on that. But that's a prime example of someone who was getting slept on by most people. And there were a handful of NFL teams, not everybody, but a handful of NFL teams, enough where teams knew they weren't going to sit there at 19 and get him. And everyone thought he was going to be there at 19 or 25 or maybe even 30. And NFL teams knew. And we see it every year where someone starts falling in the draft and everyone says, oh my God, we didn't see this coming. And every NFL team will be like, dude, we did. Like, we didn't like him. Everyone we talked to didn't like him. But you guys all said he was great. And then it's vice versa too, right? It's just, it's the way it works. So yes, you can try to gather as much information as you can. And I think groupthink can be a good thing to try to get a general consensus on what the NFL community thinks of an individual player. But there's a big difference between scouts, analysts, and what goes on inside a war room. And what do you ever really know? Not that much, outside of a handful of guys, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., people like that. And even then, Marvin Harrison Jr., who we're all saying is this generational prospect, we've never seen a receiver like it. There's a handful of teams that I am very confident in that don't think he's the best receiver in this draft. But that's sacrilege to say. But
you can't say that.
But you're starting to see some cracks in that where people are like,
oh wait, yes you can.
Yeah, people are like, dude, he's not the consensus end all to be all. Same thing with Caleb Williams.
All this being said, I will be releasing my full 7-round mock draft later this week, and it is all players who no one believes will get drafted.
I love it. Let's go.
So that'll be Wednesday. I've worked very hard on this.
Do you have your Brock Purdy? Because that's the other one now.
Brock Purdy.
Everyone's like, he reminds me of Brock Purdy. Okay, sure.
No, I don't have my Brock Purdy.
Better get one.
That's the. Oh, why do we? We'll just find the next Brock Purdy.
Well, I thought that was J.J. McCarthy. Weren't they drawing?
Oh no, J.J. McCarthy is Kirk Cousins. Would you get your comps right? For God's sakes.
I'm behind, guys. I'm behind. Well, I can't wait for the draft to be over. So the countdown clock is on. It's Thursday. And it's fun. Seriously, it's awesome. I think Caleb Williams is going to be awesome. I think it's cool that the Bears are getting him. The Bears might actually be relevant. I think it's, trades are cool. Where the other quarterbacks go, cool. Yeah. You lose me about mid-first round unless it's a quarterback, but, Well,
this is what I love because this is where good teams assemble their roster. And
well, yeah.
And when you start to assemble some pieces and you get the quarterback right, you can turn it around real fast. See Houston. And I don't know about the coaching staff and the front office. It scares me a little bit, but Chicago has done a nice job the last couple of years in kind of gathering some pieces. And if they get Caleb Williams right, and who knows, they're going to draft him. If Caleb Williams is that guy, Chicago can have a really, really quick turnaround. And that's the beauty of the NFL.
Not one, not two. Not three.
But go back to that quarterback draft with Trevor Lawrence that was supposed to be this generational draft. And I'll tell you what, that draft right now, with the exception of Trevor Lawrence, who even that is a little like, how's that working out? Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson.
Well, it's exciting. I know you guys are into it. We're going to cover it. I mean, we're going to have some stuff on the draft this week. You want to talk about draft nerd? Andrew Nemrick's going to come in, and that man. Dude, that guy's all about it.
Yeah, he's up in...
he sent me a hot tip this morning that I could go and bet.
Yeah, his gambling.
Yeah, he likes to bet on it.
And he's pretty good at it.
What's his hot tip?
His hot tip today was that, let me see if I can find it, was that a certain defender would be drafted in the top 10. He thinks it's about a 50-50 shot, and you could get 3-1 odds on it. So,
all right.
Let me see. Let me pull it up.
All right. Well,
it was Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy II.
Who's he play for?
I don't know.
What are you? Who's Byron Murphy?
Oh, Texas.
Yeah,
he played for
the
Texas.
Defensive lineman from Texas. Him and Sweat.
All right.
If he's got it's ridiculous the odds. It's like somewhere like plus 4,000 or something that Malik Neighbors will go ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Ooh,
And I didn't be like plus 6,000, a ridiculous number. And
that could happen, couldn't it?
yeah, they're starting to see a little bit of that creeping up. And if that happens, I think
Andrew Nemec is going to retire.
That's right.
he's going to be buying himself a new pair of shoes. And he likes stuff like that.
Well, he's different to me because he's really into it. And you can tell he does his homework on it. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Look, it's not my cup of tea, but I look, there's just a lot of bloviating, blowhardy, you-know-what's out
some
there.
people that don't put in the work.
No, they don't. And even big name guys,
Uh-huh.
the only reason they're throwing stuff out there is because some GM told them to, right?
Yes.
And so that it's just the way the game works is just you're sifting through a lot of garbaggio this week and in the weeks leading up to, but
yep.
we won't pay any attention to that, Jace.
But, we're getting
You know what we're going to do this week?
What do we got?
We're going to interview Dan Lanning.
Hell yeah.
True story.
Spring game coming up.
Dan Lanning will be on our show.
I
I
did-
believe that's Wednesday. I believe Scott Barnes is coming on.
I did watch the Oregon State spring game. Well, I tried
You
to watch.
did?
I tried.
I saw a shot of the crowd. There's no one there.
Gee,
What's going
look,
on, Beeves?
I'm not here to kick dirt on anyone, but
Go Beavers, how
well,
about that?
not everyone was playing,
Well,
and
we'll have a whole segment
it
on
was
this.
not.
We'll have a segment.
Is
It's in the notes.
is
It's going to be a big week. Do we get Ansi Souk this week?
Oh well, vacation Souk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
drunk.
get Ansi Souk.
I'm drunk right now.
So we do get Ansi Souk.
Yeah.
Can I
See,
submit a question for Coach Lanning this week?
Sure.
Not asking, but for you guys,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fascinated. He has so many guys that could be drafted in the first round. What does draft night look for him now? Does he go to the draft? I don't think any of his players are actually going to be there, so I don't know that would make sense. But does he do coverage? Like, is he with some of the
Yeah,
players?
they got 3 that could go in the first round.
Right, so it could be a potentially big night
He's
for
not
him.
going
The
to
program.
Detroit 2 days before the spring game, is he?
I wouldn't think so,
wouldn't
but
imagine.
maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
none of his
I'm still
players
gotta be
interested in
on
what
our
he
show.
does.
Because Franklin, Nix, and Jackson
Mhm.
Powers, those are the 3 that could go in the first round, and none of those are getting invited. So,
So I want to know what Coach's Thursday looks like.
We'll tell you what, we're going to ask him for you, Buckster.
Yeah.
He's going to be on our show Wednesday. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
You're about to go to St. Bart's or some crap.
St. Lucia. It's all
St.
the same
Lucia.
thing. Look,
Yeah.
it's St. Jimmy Buffett said it best. I need to fly to St. somewhere and just be happy that I'm somewhat sober and I still have my shirt on, because neither one of those things will be true come Saturday.
That's fantastic. All right, we party. We start with our 1080 The Fan poll question next on The Fan.
The draft
today's poll question. That was French. I speak French now. Versace goes with the brand.
I thought that was Italian.
What? Question?
No. Versace.
Oh.
That had a real Italian vibe.
Yeah, it is, but
Right.
it can be both.
I understand. It's a universal language.
Yeah.
It's like love.
That's right.
Yeah, I get it.
Our poll question is on X at 1080 The Fan. It's brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com.
What is the deal?
Friday, we asked the following query: which championship franchise or team is most cooked? Do you remember when we asked that?
I did.
The Patriots won that 54%, Warriors 27%, Kentucky 14%, and the Astros 5%.
I just don't buy any NFL team being cooked. I don't. It's
Me neither.
the league is not set up for you to be cooked.
I would have bet the Warriors, or I would have
Yes.
voted for the Warriors.
Yeah, the
And I would
Warriors-
have voted hard.
The Warriors will spiral harder than any of those, in my opinion.
Okay, today's question is this.
Oh.
Now that Damian Lillard is gone, who anchors our area's sports throne?
Oh. Mm.
Yeah, it's slim pickings, dude.
Boy.
Here's who I came up with, and I am fully
Yeah,
open to suggestions that are better than the ones that I have on here. Okay?
Is Evander on there?
I'm open to who's that?
He's the new hot shot for the Timbers. People love him.
Oh, is
got-
Diego Chara still
He's
with
got
the
good
Timbers?
hair. Yeah, the Charas are still there.
The Charas, there's two of them?
Yeah, there's two of them.
Oh. I thought about putting him on there, and then I thought,
We're up with two thumbs.
So here's what I have. I have Dan Lanning.
That's honestly was kind of the first.
Top of your helmet!
That was the first one that I thought of when you said that. Besides going,
I have Sophia Smith.
yeah. Although they just they're struggling a little bit, but she's
Amazing.
She's an MVP. Thorns, by the way, if you didn't know.
Yeah. And then I have Scoot Henderson,
I'm gonna go to that lake.
and I have Jason Swigard.
Oh, well, I mean, Swag's been here forever.
What do you think about that?
I love where we're going.
Voice
with,
of the pilots, voice of the hops.
Yeah. I mean, he's Mr. Sports in our area.
I love where we're going with this.
We think.
It's got to be Lanning. Is Dan Lanning the king of our area's sports?
Well, but if you're a Beaver fan,
I know. That's
you're-
what I'm
You're
saying.
telling him to go
Well, who is it then?
pound sand.
Am I missing anyone?
I mean, I would say that Simons or Sharp is a bigger deal than Scoot.
I thought about Simons.
I mean, Scoot's not. Look, we need to be fair with Scoot. He didn't have a bad year, but he's not going to be first team all rookie.
Well, no, but I think the deal with Scoot is that he's kind of the future hope. I think with Simons, we know what he is, and I know he's popular, but
yeah.
I think Scoot is kind
Yeah,
of he's the Lillard replacement
Well, he's
guy.
the one that the franchise certainly made him out to be. I mean, they called him a generational prospect that wasn't going to struggle. I would still say that if I'm a Blazer fan, the one that I am holding on to more than anyone is Sharp. If you said who could be the guy, like the actual anchor, I would point to Sharp versus anyone that's on the team.
So you think Shaden Sharp sits on our area's sports throne?
But that's the weakest throne. I mean,
Yeah. Well, yes. It's Swigard.
It's Swag.
It's Swigard.
It's over.
Honestly, at right now, if Sharp had played this year, maybe I could say Sharp, but it was kind of a wasted year for him. I know Beaver fan won't like it. It's Dan
it's
Lanning.
Lanning.
It's Lanning. Lanning has, and the weird thing about Lanning, even, and we're being fair, he's won Jack S. Seriously, he's won nothing.
What about
God dang, what do you think?
Aye, man. Wait, Dana Altman?
Dana Altman? No, I don't think he has an
Well, he's not even in Dan Lanning's stratosphere.
No, he's not. But
And
as
yet
far as
I thought
accomplishments,
about-
what he's done, like
You know who I thought about was Scott Ruick, but then I thought, well,
Well, and this falls down. No
I
offense.
thought
to-
Travis Pizzana.
the women's sports thing, well, it certainly is rising right now, and the Thorns have won championships, and Sophia Smith has won an MVP. The sports bra is expanding.
Yeah.
Did you see? So, but to to the large knuckle dragging male population, women's sports is still, how about we get a Fresca and tussle your hair?
But Sophia Smith is
great.
Yeah, and she's got pretty much everything working for her.
But she's not moving the needle for a lot of people.
Well, that's why it's kind of.
What about? Is it just Phil? Can we? Is it
Phil
just
Knight?
Phil Knight? I mean,
Nike's not doing so hot.
Look, I think what you've exposed here is it's a little Game of Thrones-esque. What was the little rat kid? The Joffrey, or is it what was his?
Joffrey Baratheon.
I feel like Joffrey's on the throne right now. Well, he's there, but no one believes that this is a long. Like if you watch that show, you're like, yeah, that kid's not making it. I feel there's a little.
People are putting up with his crap for a while.
A little bit of that right now. Like there's no one. That throne is wide open for the taking. But if Lanning wins the Big Ten next year, it's Dan Lanning, right? If Sharp or Scoot or whoever they draft, and if you get a Rookie of the Year next year, or Sharp like pops and makes an All-Star team, it's that someone could reach up and grab this throne so very easily right now. So I'm gonna say Lanning. He's doing the Lanning has claim to the throne. He's got documents that say that it's his throne and he has the right, but he doesn't have the surrounding lords right now too.
Is it still Dame?
Oh wow!
Would Dame still have it?
No, come on.
Everyone still loves him.
They do, but
it's just there just isn't. There just isn't one right now.
That'd be a good question though. Is Damian Lillard more popular than Scoot Henderson in Portland right now?
Is he more popular than any sports figure in Oregon right now?
In Oregon.
That's after forcing his way out. I don't know, man. He's
probably not for a lot of Duck fans.
I'll tell you what though, because he's a free agent after next year. if he pulls the mean of I need an ambulance, but not for me to the Bucks, and re-signs with the Blazers. And I know that, salary cap and all that. But if he found his way back to Portland after next season, the answer to that question would be Damian Lillard.
Well, yeah, it's his throne.
It's his throne.
It was his, and if he comes back, it would be his.
I'll tell you what. He left to go fight in the Crusades, and no one has sat upon the throne. A lot of people that are jockeying for it.
Empty throne.
It's an empty throne. No one has sat on it. It's a weird.
Okay.
It's a weird time right now. Just is.
Vote and vote hard. AAA heating and cooling poll question on X at 1080 the fan.
Said Damian Martinez. Oh wait, S. Yeah, it's rough. And right now, honestly, even Oregon football doesn't, like last year it was Bo. And this year's squad is immensely talented, but there's not Dylan Gabriel, but no, he's never.
It could be him by the turn of the new year, but not right now.
No.
You got nothing.
No one could even pick him out of lineup right now.
No.
Well, very few could.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good exercise there. Up next.
Honestly, I had not thought about that, and you kind of.
I thought about it for a long time today.
Yeah.
I just was like, maybe I'll just throw swag on.
Yeah, that sent me down a bit of a rabbit
Phil
hole.
Knight's a good one, but I feel like Phil Knight. I mean, you could say that he's the king.
Yeah,
he has been the whole time.
Yes.
I mean, come on. Nothing really rivals.
He's Papa Lannister back there pulling strings.
Yeah.
He's got a dragon somewhere. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, he's sort of above all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're worth whatever it is, $30 billion. What is Phil worth?
I'm gonna say 50 billion.
50 billion? I have no idea.
What do you got? You got a guess, Buckley?
I've got the answers.
I thought it was like in the 20s. Maybe 30. Am I
lame?
Is that lame? Oh yeah, I was way off.
39.5.
39.5 billion.
Boy, I undersold Phil by like $18 billion. Sorry, Phil.
Money grows, dude.
Well, I mean, I buy a lot of Nike stuff, so.
Yeah. All right. Up next, how does Oregon State keep people engaged? Spring Game Edition. Here's Buck.
This is
right. Well, Oregon State had its spring, thing that they do each year.
Yeah, the
It's like a scrimmage.
spring showcase, if you will.
Yeah.
They haven't had a game in a long time.
So that should be noted. They don't really go big on their spring ball.
Mike Riley was there, though.
Yeah. And you know what he said when I saw him?
Where have you guys been?
You just decided to show up to the spring
I was down
game?
there covering it.
Just down there in the nitty gritty.
Taking notes.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, Riley was there. So they don't put a lot into their deal like some other schools. So that should be noted. But at the same time, I saw a picture of the attendance.
It was rough.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Is it always like that?
Or
is this worse?
Well, I mean, spring games in general out west, we don't do great. The Huskies and the Ducks put some butts in the seats. I watched a little of the Trojans, and it's tough to tell with big stadiums too. And a lot of times they just do like one side of the stadium. Look, I got to be fair. Like, not many programs outside of the Big Ten and the SEC put a bunch of butts in seats. That being said, this was bad. And Bill Orem wrote about it, and he's the columnist of the Oregonian, and he's taken a lot of flack. But I think his was that Trent Bray could go up and literally shake the hands of everyone in attendance. And
it kind of looked like that.
It was, look, there were not thousands of people there.
No.
There were hundreds, maybe 1,000. It was sparse.
And wasn't it nice out there?
It was well,
Nice day?
it was nice, and then it kind of turned south. That was like everyone else's. But I think his point was, you had the fiery letter earlier in the week, from management at Oregon State saying, hey, we're gonna come out of this, and now is the time to kind of rally the troops. And I think he was saying that this was maybe a time to kind of have a rallying party, bring back some old players. He brought back Mike Riley, but try to inject some life into a program right now that needs it, that the fans are maybe kind of licking their wounds a little bit. And it just came off as another unfortunate kind of dud of a spring game. But I don't want to take any shots, because I think this is largely the spring games for 90% of the teams in the country.
I feel like spring games, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yes.
And I don't feel like Oregon State puts a ton, and I'm not saying the team, I'm just saying the school. Like, they don't really promote it as like, hey, everybody come out and we'll have all this stuff for the kids. And they just don't do that. It seems like.
Yes.
So it's not fair to bash them for that. But I mean, come on. And we'll ask Scott Barnes this. I think he's coming on this week.
Yes.
How do you keep people engaged down there?
Yeah.
I mean, particularly if they suck this year.
It's tough.
I mean, if they suck and the weather turns, which it will, always does, the whole thing.
It's bad.
How low will attendance go? I mean, I was looking at attendance today. Do you know who the lowest Power 5? Wait, what are we to call it now?
What's the Power 4?
Well, I refuse to call it the Power 4.
Well, it is the Power 4. There is no 5. What else do you want to call it?
Well, I'm going to call it Power 5. And the reason I'm going to call it Power 5 is because people know what that means. Okay?
But there's no...
Whatever.
There is no...
The worst Power 5 attendance last season, do you know who it was? And do you have a guess on about how many they drew?
Worst Power 5? Oh, God. I'm not going to say it's because Washington State, small crowds, but, they do a good job at Martin Stadium. It's going to be someone like Vanderbilt or Rutgers.
Is Duke.
Oh, there you go, Duke.
Who averaged 25,000 fans a game.
Okay. Not good.
Oregon State last year.
They did a nice job.
They averaged 37,000 fans a game.
Okay.
61st in the country. They were not that far north of Duke.
Well, but Reeser doesn't,
right. Well, and Washington State wasn't that far north.
Yeah, because Martin Stadium's smaller than Reeser. They're just not big stadiums.
Correct, but Reeser holds more than Martin.
Yes, it does.
So, if Oregon State is not good next year in football, how low will attendance go? Will it be lower than Duke? Because I think it will.
It'll get bad. If I got to pull up the schedule because the Civil War this year obviously is early. If they get, is that before or after Purdue? I got to see how this shakes out.
They're playing Purdue again?
Yeah, they got Purdue.
Is it just me or are they always playing Purdue?
don't know if they're always playing Purdue, but they have played Purdue.
Was
So-
that a home and home, and this is a new home and home, or is this the second part of that? Because I know they played down there.
No, I think this is a new
New home.
Oregon also had a home and home with Purdue as well.
Yeah. So they get Idaho State and then San Diego State, and that's in. So they'll beat Idaho State on the road at San Diego State, and then they get Reeser with the Duckies.
Ooh.
If they lose to San Diego State, and I don't think they will. Like,
See that Duck game right there.
that's
Where you
If-
you
if-
were saying rally the like get everybody on board as best you
Yes.
can. It's
Yeah.
that game right.
yes. So it is imperative that you beat San Diego State, because if you lose to San Diego State, no offense, but look, weird things happen. I don't think that game is gonna go your way. I think we're operating on different wavelengths now when we're talking about those two programs. And if you lose to San Diego State and then what happens at Reeser happens the way I think it's going to happen, you could go into that Purdue game, which is also at Reeser, and you could just see just empty across the board.
So three of their first four games are at
home.
Reeser.
Yes. Idaho State, San Diego's on the road, and then home to Oregon, home to Purdue, actually home to Colorado State. So
for the first five.
for the first five.
That's good. Weather could be better.
Yeah. So you gotta build some momentum. You do. You gotta beat San Diego State. You gotta beat Purdue. Otherwise, you're gonna get to the end of the year when you're playing the San Jose States, when you're playing even Washington State.
Yep. Bad weather, bad record. San Jose State comes to town. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's
boy.
It may not be pretty.
Do you know what the worst college football attendance overall was?
Worst overall?
Yeah, they were. It was at Akron. Do you know how many they drew?
I don't know. 6,000.
7,000 fans.
And that's what they're saying, which means probably 3,500 rolled in there. I have a sneaky belief early on, Beaver fan is going to rally. They're not going to go quietly into the night. I think Beaver fan is going to show up. I just hope that the product on the field is enough to keep them around. I hope so. And I don't take anything from the spring game. Like, offensively, it wasn't pretty. Both quarterbacks are bleh, but it's so early and not everyone's playing, and it's a new system. I take jack squat from the spring game. I hold out hope that the Beavs are going to be okay and that you're going to fill some spots. I just think that with the turnover and most of your significant players that you were relying on with this side of Joshua Gray are gone. Hopefully he sticks around. Look, I just think against the Power 5 teams, especially Oregon, I just don't think you're going to have the horses. And but remember, a lot of your competition isn't, it's not Power 5. So even though you have a reduction in your overall talent, the San Diego States and, to Colorado States, Nevada, UNLV, San Jose State, Air Force, Boise, this shouldn't be, this giant talent gap. I mean, the only one that you're going to walk on the field with and probably be like, damn it, is Oregon. And, outside of that, I would assume that from a talent standpoint, you're going to be competitive or have an advantage over most of the teams. So then that comes down to, what's the coaching staff? What's the plan? How quickly can you get guys to gel and see what you can put out there? I think it's just a big fat question mark. And I'm going to be fascinated to see how it goes. But I have faith that Oregon State will rally the troops from a fan perspective, at least at the start of the season.
Yeah, Reeser capacity 35,548.
Yeah.
And that's down, right? Since they completed
since they completed. So that was basically a sellout for every game.
And then Martin Stadium is 32. That's Washington State. 32,952.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that they were that close. I thought Oregon State was much bigger. Well, not much bigger, but
Old Reeser
in the 40s.
Old Reeser was bigger.
Yeah, it was like 45 back then.
But,
taking out seats. Remember when I was yelled at by a local columnist? Well, I was because, yelled at's harsh. Questioned. But when they put up the new side, now the old side at Reeser, I was like, man, they don't have enough people to put in those seats. And they were like, well, they're going to grow into it. What do you think about that, Rob?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, we'll see. I mean, I get what you're saying, but they never did.
Yeah. No. Well, and there's, I mean, Oregon has talked about people like, oh, why doesn't Autzen expand? And we've heard from plenty of time.
Their AD came out and said, I think we're good.
Yeah, dude, growing into a stadium is filling a stadium is hard, period. And adding thousands of seats. Washington is a big time program, and they, not by a ton, but they went smaller when they redid Husky Stadium. Dude, there's not many fan bases, especially west of the Mississippi, or let's say west of Texas, that are drawing 70,000 people. I mean, my God, how many times do we have to watch the Coliseum or the Rose Bowl and have to rope off the top part of it, and it still looks sparse? There's just not a lot of fan bases right now that are pouring in to stadiums, but I research at this size is perfect for Oregon State, and they filled it last year, and God willing, fingers crossed, they fill it again, and the team gives them something to keep coming back.
All right, we'll wrap up the weekend that was in spring football and turn the page toward a quality little ejection. We have audio. Did you see this?
What audio?
Well, there was an ejection today. You haven't seen it?
Oh, is this Major League Baseball?
Yes.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
The guy didn't say a word. Not a word, and he got booted.
Yeah, sometimes it's more
and
of a,
we have the audio.
It's more of a gesture. You see Embiid crotch chop the ball to the official.
Yeah, man. That's what I do when I hand the ball back. All right, so we'll get to that coming up as well. It is 3:50 on a fan.
The Fan.
Yes, my 7-round mock draft of players that no one expects to be taken will be released on Wednesday. And you can grade me. It's okay. I can handle it.
F minus.
You said you watched USC's spring game?
Well, I mean, watched is a strong word. I tuned in.
You kept an eye on it?
I tried watching the Oregon State one, and it just.
So wait.
It was bad.
Who's playing quarterback for Oregon State?
They got the two guys. They got the transfer from Idaho, which is McCoy, and him and the other guy who's the transfer from Missouri.
Hatfield?
No, it's Johnson.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be fun. The Hatfield and McCoy. No, the other kid is the transfer from Missouri. So they were running with the black team, which was mostly the starters from what I could gather. And, you know, it was...
They look all right?
No. The offense was not good. It was kind of dreadful, both sides. But again, not everyone was playing, and they got some decent depth at in the backfield.
Why was not everyone playing?
Well, injuries and again, you never know who's in, who's out. Like, they don't give you detailed injury reports, but not everyone was playing. And again, a lot of new faces. I wouldn't take too much out of it, but the defense certainly looked, from what I saw, I watched 45 minutes of it. The defense looked vastly ahead of the offense.
Isn't that normal for spring?
That's normal. For one, it's normal for spring, and it's normal when you have a bunch of new faces. It's easier to get defensive guys on the same page than it did offense. You can look at it two ways. Either you're happy the defense showed out, or you can look at the offense and be like, ugh. So, well,
it's certainly going to be different, but we don't. You're right. We shouldn't draw any conclusions. The bigger question is, how did Trent Bray look stalking the sideline? Because that's a thing.
Just the
way a coach holds himself on the sideline is interesting to me.
What I take from Coach Bray is that he is a little bit like Jonathan Smith, and that he's a football guy. He's not a salesman. He's not the most charismatic guy in the world. He's a coach's son. He's an old linebacker.
Is he stoic over there like Smith was?
He's a little stoic. Yeah.
Smith would always just stand there with his arms folded,
so
clearly deep in thought.
And again, spring games, wait and see what happens when live bullets start flying. I hate drawing any conclusion whatsoever from any sort of
no
spring.
one's drawing any conclusions.
And it's not a game. It's a showcase.
It's a practice.
It's practice. Talking about practice.
USC, who they got at quarterback?
They got the kid that was at the
is that Malachi?
No, he left.
Transfer?
He transferred. He's at Boise State.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he went to, which was kind of odd because he was a huge deal.
Yeah, he was a 5-star kid, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and he went to Boise.
He ended up going to Boise State of all things, which was a little kind of strange. No, they got the kid that Miller Moses, who came in at the end after Caleb Williams.
Where'd he come from?
I think he's a USC
freshman?
guy. Yeah, I think he's a freshman. So everyone was all kind of hot and bothered about him.
Did he look good?
From what I saw, he actually didn't play a bunch. Again, I didn't see a lot of the USC game. I kept an eye on the USC game. I watched way more of Oregon State than I did of USC.
All right. Well, Oregon's spring game is this weekend.
Yes.
And we will have Dan Lanning on our show Wednesday. I believe 5:15.
5:15.
Yeah.
Right after the Hot 5 on Wednesday.
5:15 Wednesday for Dan Lanning. Okay.
And Oregon has made their spring game a bit of an event.
They want you there. Like, I remember Cristobal all those years.
Well, they did the military.
All those years. He was there for 2 years, 3 years.
They did the military tie-in.
But they were always trying to promote.
And they get
people out there.
They do a surplus sale.
Yeah.
I know they've done. Sometimes they did the baseball game. They tried to push their crowd into the baseball game. Remember, Lanning was in the beer garden.
Didn't they raise money for charity too? Like
and then
canned food or something.
And this year they're doing the Matt Kearney, who does the Oregon song. That they play up on the
Matt Kearney.
Yeah, Matt Kearney. So he's going to come there and do a concert. So they've tried to kind of make it a bigger deal.
That's good. All right, coming up next, we've got a couple of random items, including a manager getting booted from a baseball game today. It was great. We have the exclusive audio. No one's ever heard this except for you.
I love exclusive audio.
And then we'll have our stock watch before In the News. It is 3:59 on The Fan. Welcome back. You know, it's crazy hearing that open and hearing the Trey Lance pick and thinking what a mistake that was, and then going, oh, wait, they've gone to the Super Bowl twice.
Just think what would happen, though, had they not given up the draft capital to go get Trey Lance. I mean, then that's the sliding door thing because maybe you don't get Brock Purdy, but, I mean, you want to talk about just you fell right on your ass and then you stumbled into Brock Purdy. And don't give me they scouted him and made a great selection. You don't take the guy in the last pick of the draft when you think he's going to do jack squat. They got damn lucky that someone in that organization was like, let's take a flyer on Brock Purdy. Because if they didn't, that Trey Lance thing was an unmitigated disaster. You could have Nick Mullins back there or Sam Darnold slinging the rock for you.
Don't forget C.J. Beathard in the mix too.
Yeah, they screwed the pooch on that. But everyone did. You look at that draft where people were talking like, oh, this is a generational draft. Zach Wilson is god-awful.
Now of your Denver Broncos.
Yes.
He got traded today.
Trey Lance is bad. Mac Jones is bad. Who is it? Trevor Lawrence.
Is Mac Jones still in New England?
No, he's in.
He went to Jacksonville.
He's in Jacksonville. He's backing up Trevor Lawrence.
That's right.
There was one other one in that draft too, if I'm not mistaken. Who am I missing? I'll have to look it up. But and Trevor Lawrence.
Malik Willis?
Was he in that? He was like a second round pick. He sucks too. But my point is, like, even Trevor Lawrence, who we were told was this generational can't miss prospect. Terrible his rookie year, although that's not his fault because he had Urban Meyer. Second year, bounces back. They win that playoff game. And then last year was a little rocky. So the verdict's still out on Trevor Lawrence. So nice generational draft class. You
also had Justin Fields.
Justin Fields was the other one.
Fields.
Yeah, and Fields is out of there now and was what had for a 6th-round pick? Is that what he went for?
So the best one of all of them. Well, Lawrence is
Trevor Lawrence.
He's the best one of all of them, and he went number 1. But the second best one of all of them is the guy who went last.
Oh, Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not even close.
Come on, man.
And no offense, but like Brock Purdy, and I know the teams aren't equal, but Brock Purdy's done a hell of a lot more than Trevor Lawrence. If we put Brock Purdy's numbers up against Trevor Lawrence's, I bet you Brock Purdy has better numbers than Trevor Lawrence. And then of course you're going to get who he worked with, but dude,
I'm gonna do that.
Trevor Lawrence, as much as we love to make him, the next thing, dude, Trevor Lawrence is not a slam dunk right now.
Well, he took a step back this year.
Exactly.
Because he was with Urban Meyer, so nobody really...
No, we gave him a pass.
Yeah, we gave him a pass, and then Doug Peterson comes in there, and he looked really good.
Yeah.
But then last year,
there was some regression.
So I'll get to that. Okay, so Aaron Boone got ejected from the Yankees-A's game today.
I saw that,
and it was great.
Yeah, someone said, I believe it was it on Danny and Dusty, or was it one of the national shows I was flipping around? It might have been Danny and Dusty.
Danny and Dusty, because that's where I got the audio.
Oh, they were saying that since he came into the league 2018 when he took over the Yankees, he leads all managers in getting run.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like he's always getting run.
I can't say that I would have guessed that.
He always seems angry to me.
Well, he does seem angry. He just looks angry. It's his eyebrows. Who would you guess would have that mantle? Like,
I'm trying to think of who's like a real fiery,
because there's no
like red ass.
There is no Earl Weaver or Lou Piniella anymore. It's Aaron Boone.
Yeah,
I mean, he's that guy.
Well, again, when you lead the league over the last 6 years and getting run, you've earned that reputation.
So we have the exclusive audio here of this ejection. But why this is funny is Boone was a little upset right out of the gate because there was an appeal situation, and he wanted the home plate umpire to make the call too. So Henry, what's that guy's name?
Winkler.
My eyes are
My eyes are very important to me.
Wenstad or whatever.
Hunter Wendelstedt?
Yeah, I think that's the home plate umpire. So Boone yells out to him, he's like, you can make that call too. And then the guy isn't having it. And he yells, this is the first inning, by the way, the top of the first inning.
Yeah.
And he yells back at Boone's like, shut the hell up. And Boone didn't say a word.
Yeah.
So you can see it on the video. There is a guy in the first row that as the next pitch is being delivered who yells at the umpire, and the umpire just turns and throws Aaron Boone out. And then he says, I don't care who said it.
It's like, what?
Boone's like, dude, I didn't say a word. Here's the audio of it.
John Tumpain is the first base umpire you saw making that call.
You're not yelling at me. I did what I'm supposed to do and check. I'm going to get hit by the pitch. You got anything else to say? You're gone.
Okay, Hunter. Well, you know what? We're not going to need a John Boy breakdown of that one. We got a very clear, there you go. And now Aaron second. I didn't say a word.
So obviously Hunter Wendelstedt was angry right from the very beginning.
Well, and some of that is reputation,
Yeah,
right? Like
for sure. He doesn't like him.
No, when you're Aaron Boone and you're known in those circles for being a, being a
like
you know he went into that thing holstered and ready to go.
I don't know if Boone is a good manager or not. I have no idea. However, I would say I do kind of like his fieriness. I think he's great. We need a guy like that in Major League
Well, think
Baseball.
about this. So I looked at the active ejection leaders.
And he needs to up the ante and start kicking dirt or stealing a base or get creative.
Yeah, do a little
like the old guys used to.
Bochy is the leader, and it's not even close.
Boch,
but like
I
Boch,
thought you said Aaron Boone.
Well, no, since Boone came in, I'm saying active managers that are active.
So Bochy's been booted more than anybody, but he's been around longer.
Yeah, but he's been booted 82 times, but it's in over 4,000 games, right? But to put this in perspective, so Bud Black is number 3, Aaron Boone is number 4. Bud Black has been run 35 times. Aaron Boone has been run 34. But Bud Black has managed in over 2,400 games to get run 35 times. Aaron Boone is in the 800s, and he's already been run 34.
Nice.
If Aaron Boone keeps this up, Aaron Boone,
I like it.
Will Bochy's 60. He's like
Boone, if he can keep a job, will be on a historic pace.
Yes.
Who's number 2?
Bob Melvin.
Really?
Yeah,
also
Melvin
done it
gets
for
run?
a while.
61 times, but again, over
He's
3.
been around.
Those A's couldn't get no respect for a while, you know.
Bochy, Melvin, Black, Boone, Council's on there. He's been run 28 times.
He seems always angry.
Yeah, David Bell's been run a little bit. There's Scott Service.
David Bell is still a manager?
Yeah.
Is he with the Reds?
There's Scott Service coming in. Yeah, he's still with the Reds. Scott Service has been run a little bit. 22 times. But that's a nice, 34 times in 890 games. That's a nice clip for Aaron Boone.
Pretty solid
for Aaron Boone.
I say keep it going.
Yeah, well.
But it's really funny how and I think somebody told me, so this is total hearsay, that the guy who actually yelled something from the stands changed his clothes and was hiding.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because he didn't want to get run
He didn't
himself?
wanna- yeah.
Because he had really good seats, and he's like,
And you
oh
can-
boy, they heard me.
Yeah, he was right behind the dugout, and you can see him going, oh.
And they can do that. They will do that.
Yes.
I mean, officials get people thrown out of baseball and basketball games all the time.
By the way, who brings a change of clothes unless you're prepared?
That is
Well,
a
I
good
don't know.
question.
I think maybe he took off his sweatshirt or something.
Oh yeah, you go to the merch shop there.
The greatest fan that I've ever seen in my entire life for this sort of shenanigans was years ago when the Red Wings were playing the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Stanley Cup Finals. In Detroit, people go down and they throw octopus or octopi on the ice. It's like a actual live, well, not live, but it's dead. A real octopus.
Like a raw whole one.
Yeah, whole octopus. They throw it on the ice. Well, obviously in Detroit, they're a little more tolerant of that. If you do it in a different arena, you're getting run. So my man dresses up, full Red Wings uniform, everything, hides the octopus in his pants. Red Wings score a goal, runs down on the ice, hucks it out there. Everyone's booing him. He's waving. Wah! They throw him out. My man bought 2 tickets to the Stanley Cup game. Goes outside, changes into a different Red Wings jersey, uses his second ticket to go in a different entrance, comes back, throws a second octopus on the ice, gets run from that one, and banned from the arena.
I thought for sure he was going to just go to his seat after the second one and be like, well, I got the backup ticket so that I could do that once. No, he did it twice and never got to see the game.
Brought 2 octopus on the ice, knowing that if he was there for 2 Red Wing goals, those octopus were
They give
going
him a
on
statue
the ice.
for that?
That dude, if someone if I was Detroit management, that guy would get season tickets for a year for that sort of dedication. Because that's not a cheap ticket. A Stanley Cup Finals game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there was a guy once, I think I've told you about this guy before, Royals Brewers, many years ago, back when the Brewers were in the AL.
Yeah.
And Turner Ward was in the outfield, and I was in college, and we just got seats and got drunk and sat out in the outfield, like $5.
Sure.
Royals sucked. God, this guy was the world's greatest heckler. I can still to this day picture him. He was so freaking good at it, never cussed. Yeah. Was funny.
The ones that can do it well.
And he finally got Turner Ward to just turn around and look at him and start laughing. It was so good. So good. Things like, I think I remember him just starting the chant, "Turner works in a toll booth."
Just
just totally
and it
random.
worked.
Oh, everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Turner has a turkey leg or something. I don't know.
But just fun. It wasn't
So good.
mean spirited.
No.
There's the famous guy, and I don't know if he's still there, but I think he was a Bullets/Wizards fan, and just this cranky old tall skinny white guy, and he was like legendary. He would sit behind the visitors bench, and just like he was known around NBA circles, and he was a heckler. But I think his was more. His was a little more.
Blue.
Yeah, I think his
biting.
He might have worked a little more blue,
as it were.
But I when fans can do it well, and it's in a good natured, fun sort of way,
even the players like it.
Yes, because you can't help but laugh.
Did you watch any of that Yankees A's game? Why am I asking that?
No.
Well, I happen to because I watch. Well, because I watch.
What else do you have to do?
I put when I'm prepping for the show and stuff. I just put baseball on at the house.
Yeah.
So I watch more day baseball than usually at night.
Well, I mean, to your point, we have the Brewers and the Pirates on.
For those of you who think Isaac only works 4 hours a day, nay,
That's
he does prep work at home.
Isachi, please. Isachi. So I was watching it. Have you guys seen Mason Miller yet?
No, I can't say that.
You know anything about him?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, we got to go now, but here's something to keep an eye on. Watch Mason Miller pitch.
He's the pitcher for the A's.
He's the closer for the A's, and he came in and mowed down, I forget who the first batter was, but then Soto and Judge. And by the way, Aaron Judge sucks now. He's hitting like 180. But, dude, Mason Miller, he throws like 104, 105 miles an hour, so his arm's about ready to fall off.
Sure.
But, oh, my God, he is amazing. Mason Miller, keep your eye on him.
I have not seen him because he plays for the A's.
Dude, he's filthy.
Okay.
Filthy good.
So the problem is that we can only see him pitch when the A's are winning.
Well, I mean, the A's are on. I mean, you can watch the A's. I don't know why you would. I guess, I'll put it this way. He's the first reason to watch the A's that I can think of since Carney Lansford.
So I love when you throw out random baseball names. It just makes me happy.
I used to work with Carney Lansford.
I thought we were going with
He's greatness.
He was awesome
there.
Anyway, we got to go.
Mike Gallegos.
Yeah, Mike Gallegos. Coming up next. Oh, Stockwatch.
The Stockwatch.
Yeah, Stockwatch. What we're buying and selling from the Weekend in Sports on the Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
what they've also. This is just what Colorado does, and he may succeed with it. He may fall on his ass, but nothing about this kid leaving and saying clicks and I want to play for a real program. Get out of here.
They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins.
What are we buying or selling? Whether he is the coach in?
Yeah, I just wonder if this is enough of an indictment on Deion that we're going to hear more of this and that Deion isn't the coach of Colorado, not this coming season, but the next.
Okay, so I don't think it's an indictment on Deion because this is just the way of college football now.
Oh.
And he has embraced it more than anyone. That said, he won't be the coach at Colorado after this season because I think he'll probably go somewhere else. He'll be spinning his wheels. It's still, to me, Deion Sanders at Colorado is the single strangest fit coach to program that I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yes.
And I just don't think he's going to be there long at all.
Well, and I still don't know if he's a good coach, and I don't know if he's a good leader of men or anything like that, but I know that he is engaging, that kids are intrigued by him, and he's not for everybody because he is not going to kiss your ass. And in a world where it seems like a lot of kids want you to kiss their ass, it's not going to happen with him. And so this may be his downfall, but we talked about spring attendance. That dude got 42,000 people to show up at the spring.
This year or last year?
Last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens this year.
We'll see if the act wears thin. We give way too much credit to a freshman kid who wasn't any good and that is leaving the program and that wants to take shots.
Did you see Deion in his overalls?
And his gray beard. The gray beard looks good.
Dude, he's just leaning right into it.
He is.
He was doing his press conference the other day in overalls and a cowboy hat.
He is something else.
Big
I don't know
beard.
if that something else is good or bad, but he's something.
Got your attention. Moving on to the NFL draft. It is, of course, draft week. We've talked a lot about Mel Kiper, even talked about him earlier today.
Sal.
Well, you don't know. You don't know this yet. We know that one of the quirks about him is that he eats pumpkin pie for breakfast every morning. Well, now we have a new one. This courtesy of the Pardon My Take podcast. Apparently, Mel Kiper doesn't own a cell phone.
You can tell me if this is wrong or a little off. Mel Kiper doesn't own a cell phone and he has 5 house phones?
Yes.
This is Todd McShay.
What?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different numbers for Mel. And if I want to text, I was just texting the other, if I want to get through to Mel, look at all these texts. Right?
What are they?
It's to Kim.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's to his wife.
And Kim writes back, hey Todd, how are you? Yeah, I'll ask him. I'm sure he'll get back to you today. I'm like, all right, great. So I've got to work through, and I always bust him on that. And the problem is you call the house, and Kim will pick up. And hey, and I'll talk to Kim for 10 minutes before I even get to Mel. And then Mel will pick up from a different landline, right? It's not like a cell phone at home. It's like back in the 80s where it's like you hear another phone. Hey, Todd, how are you? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's definitely a throwback.
Buy or sell, Mel Kiper's doing bits. How in this age with a job like that could you not have a cell phone and have your wife as a go-between with your primary coworker?
Because he's not good at what he does. He's a fraud, and it just.
Kim Kiper, by the way, I'm looking her up.
Good, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're kind of they're getting up there, but
the idea that again doing what he does. Can I just say the people that do this that are like, you know what, I don't embrace technology. You're just an ass at that point, and you're bad at what you do.
What if they just not embracing tech? I mean, I think that's
Well, but he says he texts the wife to let her know that he wants to get a message to Mel.
That's crazy. But if McShay's saying it, it's probably true, right?
Unbelievable.
I mean, I don't really believe that, but maybe
that's what I'm wondering.
So the guy that we're supposed to believe is tied into all these GMs and prospects and everything still uses landlines. Cool, Mel. Cool.
Well, doesn't he I see him a lot on email, right? Because doesn't he?
Probably. Because
agents are he's not like a Schefter. He's not like an insider guy.
Right.
He's a mock draft guy, and he does it once a year. What else does he do for? He doesn't need a cell phone for 9 months out of the year. The other 3 months where he's preparing his mocks and doing all this crap, he probably just. He emails these. Don't these agents say, hey, shove my kid up the ladder a little bit.
There's certainly been some.
There'll be $15,000 in your account shortly.
No,
that's all he does.
No.
You don't need a cell phone for that.
Speculation.
What you need is a routing number.
All right. Wait, so Mel Kiper doing bits or not doing bits?
Not doing bits.
This is Mel Kiper.
I think that's legit. And I'm reading about Kim.
Thoroughly enjoy. You don't need you need a routing number.
Kim runs a majority of his businesses.
Or
business. Did you know that?
No.
I mean,
well, if he doesn't have a cell phone, someone would have to.
What McShay is saying checks out with internet.
Okay.
She has helped publish many of his books as well. Apparently, he doesn't do anything.
Well, go Mel Kiper.
And they live in northern Baltimore County, about an hour away from Baltimore, and they have a pool.
Well, I would
and he has
assume
his own studio.
I think Mel's doing just fine for himself.
Where he eats pumpkin pie.
I will give Mel credit, and anyone like him. That man hustled his ass off to get where he's at, and I give tip of the cap to that.
And then finally, we're in the era now where only, I would say, live sporting events and maybe award shows can get us to watch stuff live, or otherwise DVR and on-demand culture. Buy or sell that you would make this special on Netflix, uncensored appointment viewing, and I'll give you the trailer.
The man, the arena, the roast of Tom Brady, live on Netflix. No helmets, no mercy, no Brady rule.
No f***ing problem.
The greatest roast of all time, Tom Brady, live, hosted by me, Kevin Hart, with a lineup of surprise guests.
We're coming for you, pretty boy.
I'm unroastable. Let's go.
So Netflix doing a live, uncensored roast of Tom Brady. Buy or sell, you would make a point to tune in live.
Oh, I don't know if I'd tune in live, but I'd
watch it.
I'd watch it.
If I happen to be captive on the couch, I would definitely tune in. When do we know when it is?
It's May 5th.
Yeah.
What day is that?
I'll find out.
Yeah. You're going to be in St.
Yeah,
Bart's or St. Lucia.
I'm going to be in St. Lucia.
I think that's a Sunday.
I will not be watching it, but
Sunday night. If I'm sitting on the couch and I happen
Sunday
to be watching like NBA games or something, I'd flip over to that for sure.
Well, those roasts are. It sounds like they're getting all the old Comedy Central people, because I heard Kevin Hart's on there. I heard Jeff Ross. Look, those people are funny, and Tom Brady's got a lot to make fun of. I mean, they're
gonna go after his hair.
They're gonna go after that. Well, he's got hair plugs. They're gonna go after the divorce,
kissing his kid.
Yeah, they're gonna do some mouth kissing. They're gonna talk about Bill. There's a lot to work with there. That's gonna be entertaining, 100%.
I'm going to be, my interest level might depend on who the other guests are. I mean, I like the Jeff Ross, the Roast Masters doing it, but I'm going to see who else is in the mix.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your privilege.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Goldberg Jones, when it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. They sponsor our Stock Watch each Monday. In the news is next. The verdict is in. You remember we talked about this on Thursday or Friday?
The roasted nuts.
Yeah, the Vancouver cop who was who took out the perp's genitals and dropped the taser on him, but didn't. She just threatened it.
She just threatened.
Yeah. She's on trial.
The verdict is in.
The verdict is in. Yeah. That's next. Here's Buck.
This is Draft Week on Primetime.
Pleased to have you along here on a beautiful little Monday. Beautiful little Monday. It really is, Jace. You're off to St. Lucia at the end of the week. We've got the NFL draft. I mean, I don't know what all that means. I guess things are looking up.
I don't know. Does anything really mean anything? It's just a bunch of stuff that happens, right?
Tend to agree with that.
There you go.
All right. It is April 22nd, 2024. It is time now for In the News. I am your noted newsman. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Thank you, America. Today is Passover.
Oh.
Are you Jewish?
I am not. But if I was, go Passover. I didn't realize today was Passover.
Well, yeah, you're not Jewish.
No, but, a lot of times that stuff, you can still be aware of it. Like sometimes on your phone, like the religious holidays will pop up,
Yeah, that's why I put it in here, as I saw it on my iPhone.
Well, and I think isn't the start of Passover kind of linked with some of those protests that are going on at Columbia or what have you? Seen that in the news?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think those are linked.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is also Earth Day. Earth Day.
Go Earth.
Look at you.
I don't know. I rode my bike today. Does that count as me being earthy?
No.
I don't know.
Nope.
What am I supposed to do on Earth Day?
Well, as a company, we had an Earth Day outing, and you didn't attend.
Oh, yeah. I don't do those things. Well, they're all in the morning. I'm busy. I got things going on. I did my part.
I think it was in the afternoon.
Well, now I'm on the air. I did my part by not driving my car. I rode my bike. How is that not celebrating Mother Earth?
Well, if that makes you feel better.
Well, what did you do to celebrate Mother Earth?
I planted a tree.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
That's a lie.
As far as you know.
Yeah.
Planted it right in my yard.
No, you didn't.
And then I cut another one down.
And then you drove your gas guzzler all around and probably didn't recycle.
Don't deflect. You are an Earth Day.
I did my part.
What would be the word? I don't know. You're stupid. All right. The verdict is in.
Yes.
Jason.
Yes.
We talked about this on Friday. Maybe it was Thursday. The woman.
The taser does not fit. You must acquit.
Andrea Mendoza. She's a Vancouver police officer who was facing trial for 4th-degree assault. She threatened to tase the perp in the Wiener Schnitzel and Zib coin purse.
I'm not going to lie. I thought she was going down.
I thought for sure too, because it's like, you didn't really, she pulled down his pants.
And undies.
And stuck the taser on his,
the meat and potatoes.
And threatened, so she had that all exposed there on camera for like 24 seconds. Anyway,
and he was already restrained.
He was by the other officer, although he was kind of trying to put up a fight.
He was wiggling.
So, and she'd already tased him once. So the jury returned a not guilty verdict for Vancouver police officer Andrea Mendoza today.
So that's good or bad, depending on whatever side you're on. I don't know.
How about that?
I just thought, and I wasn't there at the trial, so I don't know the ins and outs. I did see where she said her whole goal was to stop the fight. She did stop the fight. I just didn't think you were allowed to stop the fight by exposing genitals and then threatening said genitals with a tasing. But
yeah, this one was pretty simple. It basically came down to the fact that she got on the stand and said, hey, I was just trying to stop him from continuing to fight.
And she did.
And her defense team added that officers are allowed to use force when necessary. And that's how she chose to do that. And they're like, all right, we're okay with it.
Is it wrong that when I was reading about this case, all I can think about is some pervert now who wants this to happen? He's like, yeah, I'm going to keep fighting unless you pull down my pants.
Some of the euphemisms coming in on the text line are fantastic. She wanted that chicken skin duffel bag to ride the lightning?
What? What does that even mean?
You don't know what that means?
Well, I'm sorry. The lightning would be the taser. But
that's the text of the day. Chicken skin
duffel bag.
I've never heard that from coin purse.
God.
Well,
what is the matter with you people?
The main thing is that he wasn't tased in the duffel bag.
Nope.
And now,
but why can't you? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why can't you tase him? Do you have to tase on the skin? Like
no. It helps, though.
Yeah, why can't she just tase his balls through the sweats?
I think you can. It's just that when you get skin contact, that one's better. And I think it was more along the lines of you take the threat a little more seriously.
Do they ever tase people in the junk?
I think when you're tasing, I'm not in the face. I don't know if anyone would ever own up to aiming. for the genitals, but I would think that the genitals would not be where you want to aim because, again, you're trying to get better contact.
Yeah, you want. Well, and she had already tased him in the back.
Yeah, and you could have denim there, and you're wearing underwear, and who knows, maybe you've got a crotch plate. You're wearing a cup. I don't know.
What?
I don't know, you got like some sort of, some sort of protective device. Look, if I'm going to go out and commit crimes, I'm cupping up. I'm Jason Sakanik. My penis is very, very important to me. It's true. You got to protect it.
Well,
it's just a bunch of dudes now just wearing cups 24/7 at all times.
You think she does it again now? You think
that's her move?
You think this becomes her big
go-to? They start teaching it in training?
Dude, she might, like, if she gets recognized by enough perps out there in Vancouver, they're like, dude, don't mess with her. She'll take your junk out and tase it.
Tase you right in the goodie bag.
Brilliant move, Ms. Mendoza.
I think my guess is, even though you got off on this once, I'm guessing you probably avoid.
Yeah.
And the sergeant who's ever in charge, I'm guessing is like, hey,
I'm sure the chief's like,
nice catch, Mays. Don't ever effing do it again. It's one of those. Like, no one wants to go to trial. I'm assuming she gets her job back and pay and all that stuff now. So.
I guess.
She wasn't fired, right? Stood by.
I don't think so. I think she was placed on leave.
Yeah. That whole thing, man. Being placed on leave.
That's the gig. It's like it's secondary to being a coach getting a buyout. You want to be on the paid leave.
I got a guy that I do jiu-jitsu with that's been on leave right now for like 3 months. Every time I turn around, that son of a gun's somewhere else. Today, like I saw today, he's out in New York. A little bit ago, he was rafting the Colorado River. That guy on leave for 3+ months.
We do have a little bit of that in our business. You know, we have scenarios in our business because not everybody has that in their line of work. But in ours, we do. We just need to get moved out. You know.
Yeah. Well, his is like there's just, when something happens with officers of the law, you just go sit on the sidelines till it works its way through. Meanwhile, that dude's just out. He's living the good life.
But in media, they'll sometimes pay you to go away.
Yeah.
We do have that. It's just that
you gotta have
they haven't done that to us yet.
No, it's been a while.
Wonder why. It's been a while. Wait, did you have that once before?
No. I'm saying, like, I remember, like, Jay Mariotti had that. And, it happens.
It does happen, yeah.
It's like, here's a bunch of money. Shut up and
get
go
out
away.
of here.
Yeah.
And there's non-compete, so you have to just sit on your...
Tucker had that for a while. He was the last one I can remember. They paid Tucker Carlson a butt ton of money to not do anything.
I've got bear news coming up next. There was a bear roaming the streets today.
What streets?
I'll tell you.
Can't wait.
When we return. It is 4:48 on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
McCollum against Wallace, poked away, 4 seconds. McCollum, the fake, the fire, no, and it's over.
How about that? Dame Lillard, do you remember him?
No, that would be C.J. McCollum.
Yep, C.J. McCollum. Do you remember him?
I do. Except C.J. missed. Dame didn't. Dame had a monster game from Milwaukee.
We didn't score in the second half.
C.J., on the other hand, C.J. had a chance to either tie or win that at the end, but
I have thoughts on him
when
we get to our playoff reach around. I have thoughts on him.
Hey, they gave Oklahoma City a hell of a game without Zion.
The Fans Window into Sports is brought to you by Window Nation. Buy 2 windows right now. Get 2 free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years at windownation.com.
What's your opinion?
It's thick, it's meaty.
The AAA Heating and Cooling poll question gives you a chance to vote on the hottest topics of the day, according to Isaac and Sue.
They were more excited than I was because I did it.
Brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 50 years. Visit AAAIAQ.com.
moments away. A quarterback in the NFL was traded today. This is in the news, April 22, 2024. There was a bear seen roaming through Central and West Corvallis over the weekend.
All right.
A bear.
Yeah. That's wild country out there.
Go Beavers! How about that?
Beavers, bears, cougars, oh my. Assuming it's just like a black bear.
Somebody texted and said, I don't live too far from the White Eagle in North Portland. There are bears roaming the streets all the time.
You don't know what the White Eagle is? Look it up.
I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay.
Get yourself an orange bandana. Tuck that bad boy in your back pocket. You're going to have a hell of a time. Not that I would know.
Several residents in the area. What does the orange one mean?
I think that means you're up for anything.
How do you know that?
Again, just rumors that I've heard. Not that I would know. It's different colored bandanas mean different things, and I believe the
anything.
I believe the orange is like.
Well, I tell you that
you're running a spread offense at that point, man, and you're throwing the ball all over the field.
That opens a can of worms. I'm up for not anything.
Anything,
but a lot, but not anything.
Well, then you can't rock the orange.
No, I would have the more sensible fuchsia.
Lavender, maybe.
I don't think that works. I think there's ones for specific activities, and I think the ones just
We should go through that. I think we did that once, didn't we?
I think we looked this up maybe one time. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Several residents.
I want to make sure that the orange is correct. I need to fact check.
Oh, now you're backtracking.
Well, I think it's correct, but
we would hate to give misinformation on something like this and have it backfire on one of our
listeners. I don't want someone showing up with the orange thinking, hey, I'm here to party, and the orange means that you're a prude. I want to give out good information.
Several residents in the area reported seeing the bear starting at 3 a.m. before photos captured it traveling downtown near the Corvallis Police Department.
Ooh. Leave the
looking
bear.
For college chicks.
He's probably looking for a picnic basket. Leave the bear alone. Bear's having a good time.
He was last spotted around 8 a.m. headed westbound, out of town, headed out.
There you go. As long as the bear is heading out of town, no harm, no foul. I hate when we have to, no one shoot the damn bear.
Well, I don't think they're going to shoot the bear until the bear attacks an unsuspecting young college girl.
Then we have to.
Then you got to put him down.
Well, maybe the bear's into the orange bandana. By the way, I am correct. The orange bandana is, quote, anything goes.
I knew you were right about that.
I know what's up.
You've spent a time or two in those bars.
I know my orange. I think if you're looking for something maybe a little softer, but you still kind of want the black bandana.
What's it mean?
It just means you're into some S&M.
I'm going to show you my boobs. S&M?
Yeah. I think that's the next. Other than that, you're getting into very specific activities. So I think if you're not ready to go orange, but you're like, hey, I'm here to party a little bit, go with the black. And then if that goes well, then you work your way up to the orange.
So orange really just means it's not anything specific. I'm just down to party.
You're down to party.
Broncos orange. Let's
because
ride.
All the other colors have a specific
thing that you want.
Yes. You don't want the brown.
Maybe I'm an orange guy.
Tell you that right now.
You don't want the brown?
You don't want the brown.
Can I get? Well.
Yeah, you can guess. You don't want the brown. Nope.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yes.
Does it involve a Cleveland steamer?
Well, hello there.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
I'm out on that.
You don't want that.
The White Eagle. Somebody's saying the White Eagle is McMenamins. Is McMenamins getting a little rowdy these days?
I think it might.
Or is it the Eagle?
I think it might just be the Eagle. Yeah. I think the bar that is being referred to here,
you tell us,
in regards to the. Look, I can't give away my secrets. It might just be the Eagle.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the Vancouver Report text line says it's just Eagle. The folks at McMenamins are preparing a cease and desist right now.
Yeah, don't wear an orange bandana into McMenamins.
Or do and see what happens. You might have a burger and a nice time.
I don't know what that works, Yeah, the Eagle is off of Lombard over there. And it is just, it's the Eagle. So, not to be confused.
I feel like a total idiot.
All right, y'all. We got a sports. It's enough fun for one day.
Loving some of the messages rolling on the Vancouver Ford text line. Just
own fire emojis.
someone did ask, by the way, and I think this is a valid question, going back to the officer threatening of the tasing. That is a male cop pulling down a lady's pants and threatening to tase her in the prison wallet. Is that going the same way?
No.
Because I don't think it is.
Nope.
No, I think he's...
Not even close.
Nope. Nope.
Not even close.
Oh no, they were hurting you so bad. Oh no.
I think that cop at that point's going to prison.
No. Strong no.
Strong no.
Strong
no. So.
All right, the Hot 5 at 5 is coming up next. NFL quarterback traded and some more transfer news when we return on The Fan.
It's time for High Stakes, a tasty look at clutch performances and the biggest games. Served up by Steakadelphia.
After review, the fan interfered with the fielder making the catch on the ball. Runner is out.
Whoa! Whoa! They ruled that he interfered with Dylan Moore. That fan just cost the Rockies a win.
Yeah, that was in the bottom of the ninth. It was 0-0, and Jacob Stallings hit what would have been a game-winning home run, and one of his own fans reached over, interfered with Dylan Moore, ended up being out, goes to extra innings. Mariners score in the top of the 10th, but the Rockies scored 2 in the bottom of the 10th and break their 6-game losing streak. So
It kind of felt like cosmic justice. I thought that ball might have gone out anyways, so...
High Stakes brought to you by Steakadelphia, featuring authentic, crazy good cheesesteaks full of cheesy goodness. Visit Steakadelphia on Southeast 59th and Powell, or the new location, Southwest 103rd and Canyon Road in Beaverton.
Business. It's
right, welcome back. Hope you're having a nice, juicy, buttery little Monday. It's a beautiful day out there. It's your Sports Bros. Rop, that's me.
Sada.
Otherwise known as Isachi.
Yeah.
Big Sook's right over there.
Yeah, otherwise known as Sook.
Yeah, Big Sook, no rebrand, although I'm hearing rumors, there are rumblings.
Yeah.
That a rebrand is in the works for you.
Well, I'm working with the team, the same people that did the Denver Bronco uniforms. We're trying to come up with some stuff. But when I'm up against a rebrand like Asachi, which, I mean...
You should let it breathe.
What am I supposed to do, right? I mean,
you're going to get squashed.
Exactly. Fortunately, I'm just going to sit in my corner and keep in my lane.
Coming up here, we have a segment called Football Stuff.
I do like football stuff.
And then we will get into some NBA playoff talk. I watched some NBA playoffs.
Look at you.
Yeah, that's right. And so now...
There's a first time for everything.
There ain't going to be no buddy stuff.
Well, no, I always watch the playoffs. Now, the regular season?
Yeah. You watching these hokey playoffs, are you?
Well, no, they just started, right?
Yeah.
Tonight's the first night?
Oh, no.
Speaking of, did you see the Milwaukee Bucks probably say what you have already been thinking, Isaac, that the first 82 games just don't matter?
They said that.
Because
they don't.
They tweeted it out after their big win. Yeah, the first 80, I can't remember the exact language. I'll find it. People were none too happy that they basically said our whole regular season doesn't matter.
Yeah, Dame came out and crotch chopped everyone saying he was washed. He had 35. But no, the hockey playoffs have been going. Come on, Rob.
I thought they started tonight.
No.
Were they going on this weekend?
Yes.
There are a couple game ones tonight.
Yeah, there's some game ones.
That's what I thought.
But there's also some game twos as well.
Tonight?
Yes, the Bruins and Leafs are going on right now up on my TV.
That's a game two?
That's a game two.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Well, no, I haven't watched that yet. It's on my list.
The Bucks tweeted, "What happened in 82 games? Nobody really cares. It's what you do now."
Well, it's
beautiful. Well, it is true.
It's not wrong.
No.
Anyway, I watched a little bit. I mean, I watched a lot. Look, dude, I'm not watching Cavs Magic. I'm sorry.
No.
I have some self-worth.
Yes.
However, I did tune in to a game, and I was mildly excited about it, and I was reminded how much I hate this team.
Okay. I'm excited about this.
And I will tell you, can you guess? Do you think you can guess which team it is?
I got an idea.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be hard.
No.
I don't know, but I also think I have a guess.
All right. Well, we'll get to that this hour. And then coming up tonight, in the club, I've always wondered how they were able to get any sort of impartial jury for a Donald Trump trial.
I know.
Well, the Wall Street Journal did a thing on each of the jurors.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they know. Well, it's not their names or anything, but it's their occupation.
God.
And it's a quote from each of them about how they're viewing Trump and everything.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty interesting.
Because one of the jurors already was like, I don't want to do this because my information has gotten out there. And
she quit.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing this.
But they finally, the trial has started. They finally got 12 jurors, and we're going to get to know them together as one in the club tonight.
I'll tell you what I wouldn't be doing, sitting on that jury.
So that's 6 to 7. Right now, the very hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
It's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victoricos.com. Number 5.
Washington State President Kirk Scholz announces he will retire.
Yeah.
But not until June of 2025.
Yeah, and so some people are trying to kind of look into this and say maybe this is a good thing, because he said that he wouldn't retire until they were in a safe, a good spot. So I don't know. Some people are trying to say that he knows something that we don't. So I don't know.
Maybe he does.
Read into it what you will.
Well, he started in 2016, and he says it's time for someone with fresh ideas. It's a novel concept, isn't it?
I certainly hope he leaves on that there is something that works, because if you leave now, that's a little, someone with fresh ideas, aka this situation sucks. So
and the AD left, right?
Yes.
He's now at Washington.
Yeah.
So next year they're going to need a new president. They still have their football coach.
They have a football
So
coach.
that's good. Their basketball coach left.
It's
Do they have a basketball coach? Who they hire?
They hired
Montana guy or Montana State guy?
God, I'm trying to remember who they went out and got.
Number
Old
4.
what's his nuts?
Old what's his nuts.
A judge has ordered the ACC and Florida State to mediation in order to settle their lawsuit over the Noles trying to leave for the Big Ten. Any thoughts on that at all?
Yeah, because look, I find this whole thing absurd in that the whole argument that Florida State has is we don't want to be involved in the contract that we signed. Like, it's so stupid. And it just seems ridiculous. So I guess the only thing you're doing by going to mediation is saying try to come up with a more reasonable buyout. I mean,
so it says the judge, John C. Cooper, technically approved the ACC's motion to dismiss Monday, but gave Florida State 7 days to amend its complaint because the university needs more specificity regarding key facts in a case he said is worth up to $500 million.
Exactly, but this is my point. Like, even the judge is being like, hey, dumbass, you signed the contract. You signed the extension on the contract. And now you don't want the contract anymore because someone else has a better one. Like, there's no grounds for that. And so now Florida State is saying, well, the terms to break it are unfair. You signed the terms. So everyone just does this. Well, Florida State's going to find a way out of it. Yeah, by paying a butt ton of money.
Well, the case still could go back to court, but Cooper ordered the sides to begin mediation within 120 days. But, of course, the mediator can't force an agreement. So if they don't, then they could end up back in court.
David Riley, by the way, the Eastern Washington coach.
David Riley, where did they get him?
Eastern Washington. That's what.
Washington. He's the Washington State coach from Eastern Washington.
Yes.
The Zach Wilson era in New York is over.
Someone's upset, maybe?
He has been traded by the Jets to the Broncos. The Jets also send a 7th-round pick in exchange for a 6th. So basically the Jets jump from number 256 to number 203.
They even agreed to pay half his salary. He just needs to leave there. It's not working. They can't have him on the roster. Just fresh start for everybody, and Denver still needs a quarterback because their quarterback room is Stidham, Zach Wilson, and Ben DiNucci.
Transfer news, Oregon State basketball's leading scorer, Tyler Bilodeau, headed to UCLA, he announced over the weekend. He led the Beavers with 13.5 points per game. Pass rusher Dayon Hayes transfers to Colorado to play for Coach Prime. He was a 4-year player from Pitt, and he is the 9th transfer into Boulder. Washington Huskies today got an offensive line transfer out of Miami named Logan Sagapolu. He was originally at Oregon and then followed Cristobal to the Canes.
I also saw, too, that they are predicting, haven't seen anything official, but Damian Martinez, it appears, might be on his way to the Miami Hurricanes.
Really?
Yeah. So the
Coach Cristobal.
3-on-3 Sports had they do the prediction, which usually means that someone told them that Martinez is going to go to Miami.
And Northwest going to South Beach, you got Cam Ward and Damian Martinez.
Yeah, they got Cam Ward and Damian. Dude, watch out for Cristobal if he doesn't screw it up.
Oh, he'll screw it up. Don't worry about that.
Just take a knee, Mario.
Just take a knee.
Let's do it. We just rolled, brother.
Are we rooting for Cristobal's success?
I think it's kind of funny.
What's funny?
Just Cristobal and all his bravado and all that falling on his face.
Stumbling in his hard way.
Going back home to Miami. And I'm not saying I dislike Cristobal, but boy.
He was a low-key a-hole.
He's low-key, yes.
It's a lot to take, I think.
Yes, he's a lot.
Playoff action this evening in the NBA. I did not see, is Tyrese Maxey out there?
He is playing tonight.
He is playing. He's got an illness, so he's playing with the trots, and Embiid's basically playing on one leg.
Yeah, Maxey missed shoot-around this morning. They were concerned whether he'd be able to play tonight. He is playing, and he's playing okay.
So the Sixers have a 7-point lead at the end of the first quarter in New York. That is game 2, New York winning the first game. And then Magic Cavs, game 2 in Cleveland. The Cavaliers are up 55-42.
I promise you one thing.
You will not watch a lick of that series.
No matter how long this series goes.
Couldn't agree more.
I will not tune into it. I won't.
No, there's no reason to.
No.
Get out of here with that.
No.
And then Lakers Nuggies tonight.
Yeah.
We get that one at 7 on TNT.
And can Denver just put them out of their misery so I can stop hearing people talk about LA as some sort of contender?
4 games tonight on the ice, as Jason referred to. Bruins 2, Leafs 1 at the end of the first in Boston. That's game 2. Islanders Hurricanes just underway, no score in the first. And then later we get Knights Stars and Kings Oilers, and those series will be just getting underway. Game 1.
Yeah.
Games 1.
By the way, I know you already know this, and you're a big fan, but Carolina right now,
I know
the
it.
Vegas favorite to win the cup.
Well, I just think the key is the red line.
Yeah, that red line is a big deal for them.
Yeah.
Love that red
I've
line.
often said that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's your Hot 5 at 5. It's brought to you by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. Football stuff next on The Fan.
The
football stuff. We'll get to some NBA playoff talk in our next segi, what Damian Lillard did yesterday.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
You do have to do football. We all know that.
The Vancouver Ford text line deal is in. He says, imagine Mario Cristobal with the quarterback and running back. Oh, wait. That's a great point. We were talking about Cristobal at Miami getting Cam Ward and possibly Damian Martinez now.
Yeah.
But he had Justin Herbert and...
he had a bunch of backs. I mean, every year Oregon has good backs.
Who was their...
Did he have Royce?
The Rose Bowl year?
The lead. Was that Royce Freeman on those? It might have been Royce.
Who'd they beat in the Rose Bowl that year? The Herbert year.
They beat? I thought they lost to Iowa State.
No. They lost to Iowa State in the Alamo Bowl. They won the Rose Bowl with Herbert.
No, they won the Rose Bowl with Herbert.
Oh.
That was Cristobal. And he ran. Like he
he
wasn't
ran.
even...
They beat Utah in the title game. Did they beat Wisconsin?
Was that Wisconsin?
I think it was Wisconsin.
I think it might have been Wisconsin.
Well, now I have to look up...
I think it was Royce. I think Royce
Really?
was. I think Royce Freeman was the back on those teams.
He might have been gone. Let's see.
Yeah, look that up, will you?
Yeah,
bitch?
do a little digging there.
I got stuff to do over here.
Bitch.
Trevor Lawrence, resourceful little bitch. So we were talking about the draft. You know, this week the NFL draft will happen. You guys.
Yes.
And we were talking about the 2021 draft where Brock Purdy ends up being the best quarterback.
You're looking for C.J. Verdell and Travis Dye.
Red farts.
Yeah, Royce is older.
Forget about
Royce is. Did you see he just signed with the Cowboys?
1 year deal.
Did
you see that?
Yeah.
They don't have a lead back.
Well, Royce isn't a lead back.
I know, but like they don't have.
Well, they'll draft
it's like
one.
Deuce Vaughn and
what was I going to tell you?
Dame.
You were talking about the NFL draft.
Oh, Purdy.
Purdy.
So Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, that draft class of quarterbacks was supposed to be this legendary group, and
it was not.
No, Wilson was an absolute bust. Fields has been a bust. Mac Jones has been a bust. And it's just it's ugly. And the best one is Trevor Lawrence, and the verdict is still out on Trevor Lawrence.
I would say that is it weird to say that Brock Purdy's the best one?
No, and I said this
because I did the stat. You were asking this. You said, "Hey, I'd love to see a stat comparison: Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy." I have that for you
because I said I'll bet you Brock Purdy has better stats than Trevor Lawrence.
It's not even close.
Really?
I mean, I'll present it to you this way, and you're gonna know who each one is because it's just glaring.
Yeah. Lawrence had a rocky first season, but he was a rookie, and it's the Urban Meyer thing. He had a bounce back year the second year, and then last year was more of like, eh.
All right, so here's quarterback A. 50 starts, 20 and 30, a QBR of 85, 58 tutties, 39 picks, 6.7 yards per attempt.
That 100% is Trevor Lawrence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So B, 21 starts, 17 and 4, 111.4 QBR, 44 tutties, 15 INTs, 9.2 yards per attempt.
Not even close.
It's not even close.
No.
The best quarterback from that draft was the last guy taken.
And yet we still up here trying to be like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, because we were told going in that Trevor Lawrence was great.
Well, it's really, really, really hard for us to wipe our memory of where they were taken.
Yes. We talk about this all the time. And by the way, not just in media, but in coaches too, draft bias. That when you are a high pick, you will get more opportunities, and we will talk about you, and coaches will believe in you. Zach Wilson will have draft bias. That even if he'll bounce around simply because he was a high pick, even though he's shown nothing about being an NFL quarterback. But if Zach Wilson was a 6th round pick, we wouldn't talk about him. So draft bias is a real thing. It's a real thing from media, and it's a real thing amongst coaches. Because there's potential there. Sam Darnold. We have such draft bias. And the reality is sometimes we just think someone's going to be good and he sucks. And we don't think much of someone. See Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy's really good. Like we reach, how many times have we had to have the conversation because the national pundits are shoving this down everyone's throat that, has Brock Purdy done enough to prove? What do you mean has he done enough?
111 QBR.
Like when can we just say that Brock Purdy's good? Because we have no problem saying that Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback, people have a kind of a problem, but not really saying that Tua is a franchise quarterback. But we have a tremendous problem saying that Brock Purdy is. And we're going to sit up here and say, well, look at what Brock Purdy had around him. Trevor Lawrence has a pretty good cast around him, and minus that first year when he had Urban Meyer. He has a good cast around him, and Tua has a good cast around him, and so does Brock Purdy, and Brock's better than the both of them.
Zach Wilson traded today.
Zach Wilson's better than nobody, unfortunately.
He's better than I am.
Yeah, probably.
Although that's debatable.
Yeah, I mean,
I could sling it.
Yeah. Zach Wilson has not been good.
Look, it's a good day for him because that situation was toxic in New York, and Sean Payton, that's a guy that could stabilize Zach Wilson.
If there's something to stabilize, and we don't know.
Well, there is. I mean, there is, because I watched way too much Jets football last year.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of games. What was that Monday night game? Didn't they knock somebody off? And he played really, really well.
Well, he outplayed Mahomes, but I think they lost it because he fumbled the ball.
Is that what it was?
At the end. He outplayed Mahomes, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he fumbled a shotgun snap, and it cost him the game.
The way he played in that game, I mean, there's something in there. I mean, he was the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's great, but if you want to just, sort of give him to any coach in the league, Sean Payton's the one I'd give him to if you want the best chance of him doing, just surviving as a backup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because even backups, those guys, like Zach Wilson, the way he has played generally with the Jets, he's not even a backup.
No.
Like, I don't want him going in if my quarterback gets hurt.
No.
No.
And we saw that with the Jets.
So
now,
Payton can maybe make him a solid backup.
You would hope so, and maybe again just resurrect his career. Like we've seen it happen once in a blue moon. This is the other one that we love to do with quarterbacks. Is we're like, well, a change of scenery. Like, with the exception of a handful of guys in the history of the league, like Rich Gannon. I'm trying to think. Like Alex Smith was one. I'm trying to think of, like, by the way, those are the two that are pretty obvious. Outside of that, now we're grasping at straws. Like Kurt Warner wasn't. Kurt Warner was just someone that no one thought of, and then he got an opportunity to turn out to be really good. I'm talking about guys that were highly thought of, that were absolute busts and ended up someplace else or a different coaching staff, and they were able to resurrect. That is so few and far between, but we love with draft bias to talk about Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson or Josh Rosen or this or that.
Mariota for a long time.
Mariota, yeah, he just needs a change of pace, and everything will be fine. The truth of the matter is, yes, it matters where you go and coaching staff and players around you, but if you're really an elite quarterback, you find a way to overcome, and you see glimpses of it.
Well, he's not. Well, that's the thing. Most guys aren't elite.
No.
It's just the idea of him staying around in the league.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of these guys, they're just, they're cooked. They're out.
If you're Zach Wilson right now, you're hoping to be Matt Barkley.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
right.
That's what you're hoping for. I think
or maybe like Trevor Siemian.
There you go. I think the idea that Zach Wilson is a starter in this league, I think that sailed and is slim to none. It can happen. It does happen once in a blue moon. There you go. Geno Smith there you go. Geno's a good one. There's number 3.
Yeah.
And Geno, it's a resurrection. Yeah, it's
pretty. It's
solid.
A resurrection.
It's a great resurrection.
He played a lot better than anybody knew he was capable.
Yes, but my point is, there's a cap to it. There's a scene. Geno is not great, but he's solid, and that is a good one.
We thought he was terrible.
Yes, Geno was left for dead. And Geno is now a good, solid starting quarterback that's slightly better than a bridge guy, but not a franchise guy. That's a great one.
Could Zach Wilson become Geno Smith?
Anything's possible. I have not seen much from Zach Wilson that leads me to believe that he can do it. He physically is very capable, but he plays the game erratically. He doesn't see the field well. He makes poor decisions, bad eye discipline. There's a lot to not like. So the question becomes, was that because he was playing with a cast in New York that was dreadful and he was thrown into the fire and he wasn't prepared? Or was it just that's who he is? And overcoming those habits and all that, it's just really hard to learn. If you don't know how to play that position, it's really hard to learn how to do it in the NFL. I mean, that's the hardest position in all of sports. And if you come in with piss poor fundamentals and then you're broken early on in your career, the chance of you fixing that and getting another shot with a good team where you don't have to kind of carry them, that's why that's so very rare in this league.
You know what I think hurt Zach Wilson a lot too is getting Nathaniel Hackett.
Didn't help.
Because Hackett, for the longest time, he worked with Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Rodgers swears by him.
Yes.
Well,
it's easy to.
Yes, it's easy to look good when you're working with Aaron Rodgers. I think Hackett sucks, and that was proven by when he took over the Broncos.
That was a mess.
It was a total mess, and Russell Wilson was terrible. I don't know, man. There's a chance Zach Wilson can become a good little backup.
Maybe. Yeah.
I do think that. Yeah. I'm just telling you, my opinion is I think he's got a little something in there still. It's what's between the ears, though. We talk to Joey Harrington a lot.
Yeah.
And he talks about this. Yeah. Like, if his confidence is shot, then he's got no chance.
But
if Peyton or whomever can build that back up.
Because he was beaten up pretty good in New York.
Yeah, dude, he took and I actually really am impressed with how he handled it. Yeah. He took a lot of crap. Like, he was a joke. He was
in the largest media market in the country.
Well, and they cast him aside for Aaron Rodgers, and then Rodgers gets hurt, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we need you, buddy." And he's like, he still handled himself pretty well.
He stepped up and said, "All right, I'll get my ass out there." And then there was that whole weird thing about how when he didn't want to go back in after they had already benched him the first time.
Yep.
So
it's tough. I'm pulling for the kid, but
I'd like to hear what he really thinks.
And that's the thing is you don't really hear a lot from him because when you're that bad and you're the whipping boy, speaking doesn't help your case. Like, what do you?
Yeah, no one wants to hear his.
And what are you supposed to say when you're completing 58% of your passes and you just came away from a no touchdown 2 pick? Like, what are you supposed to say?
Yeah, he's kind of got to say the right thing.
Yeah,
and but to his credit, I think that's easier said than done. Yeah. He did it.
Yeah,
he said the right thing most of the time.
And now going to Denver, and they don't have a quarterback. Maybe they'll deal with one in the draft. Maybe he's got a chance to sit. Maybe he's got a chance to win that job. Look, if they don't bring in a rookie that's automatically handled the job, all you have to do is beat out Jarrett Stidham and Ben DiNucci, for God's sakes. Like,
first of all, take it easy on the nooch. And second, they're drafting a quarterback.
I would think.
And it's probably going to be Bo Nix. That's what my mock says.
Well, a lot of people have linked Bo Nix with the Denver Broncos, yes. So
including me.
I have seen that. And when Asachi says it.
That's right. And I am a draft expert.
Book it, Dano.
All right, to the NBA playoffs next. Here's Buck.
Now,
One of our listeners caught this. Only one of them, though. So I'm disappointed in the rest of you who did not catch that Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence were not in the same draft.
Oh. Yeah, because Purdy's only been in the league 2 years, and Lawrence has 3.
Yeah. So we screwed that up.
Yeah, minor details.
Purdy was 2022, and that was with Pickett, Ritter, Malik Willis.
Wait, so an equally crappy quarterback draft?
Matt Corral, Sam Howell, Skylar Thompson, and then Purdy went
So again, a
last.
equally crappy quarterback draft.
So you could say he is the best of
a 2-year.
Of a 2-year run there. I wouldn't say he's better than C.J. Stroud, would you?
No.
From last year?
C.J. Stroud had a record-breaking year, and Brock Purdy has great numbers, but, I mean, certainly C.J. Stroud is, right now, after year 1, appears to be on an ascension to truly elite status.
So I don't remember who was in the 2020 NFL draft for quarterbacks, but for a 2-year stretch, Brock Purdy was the best quarterback drafted.
Well, it's certainly not Kenny Pickett or Desmond Ritter, for God's sakes. So just
Burrow was the year before. So
and Burrow, as great as Burrow's been, Burrow's can't stay healthy, and that's a good one because you got Burrow, you got Tua, who's been very good and is in line for a big payday, and then Justin Herbert, who has already been paid and we all think is elite and now needs to win. Jordan Love, by the way, and Jordan Love again could be having a coming out party. I mean, last year, the second half of the season, Jordan Love was really stinking good. So can he continue? So that is the draft class that may. Oh, and Jalen Hurts is in that class too. So that may be the class that you look back on and say is something special with Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Love, Hurts.
Did you see what Dame did last night?
I did see what Dame did last night.
Your boy Dame Dalla.
Which is nice because people.
Well, it was yesterday afternoon, actually.
People were burying that guy.
Were they?
Oh yeah. Well, he didn't have a good year in Milwaukee. He is limping to the stretch, and they hadn't played very well against Indiana, and no Giannis, and so there was
he was moping to a degree.
Yeah, yeah. And
they did have a very strange year. That was really weird.
Yes.
And the Doc Rivers thing was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And Giannis is out, and so I think a lot of us wrote them off.
I think everybody wrote them off.
And maybe rightly so. I don't know. I mean, it's just one game, but Lillard goes out and drops 35 in the first half.
Mm-hmm. And they cruised to a 109-94 win over Indiana. So, maybe there's some life left in Milwaukee for every time if they can do this and they can extend the time that Giannis gets back. That's like if you go up 2-0, now there really is no pressure on Giannis to come back. So that's a big boy moment from Dame, who was brought in to kind of be obviously the killer there in Milwaukee to go along with Giannis, who had already won a title. And then, Holiday ends up going to Boston and they're just crushing it over there. And so, I think there was a lot of pressure on Dame in these playoffs.
Here he was after the game talking about having missed the playoffs in Portland.
The last 2 years not being in the playoffs, it was, it sucked. I was early vacations. Last year I went to Coachella. Like, I ain't never been able to go to Coachella. Like, it's just playing in the playoffs every year. So just having that long summer, it was like, man, I was over that. But being able to be in a playoff series on a championship team and a championship organization, knowing that we got an opportunity for it, I think that was the thing that I was looking forward to most.
Coachella, you ever been?
No, I don't really have much of a desire to go to Coachella. I feel like the only reason to go to Coachella is so that you can put something on Instagram saying that you went to Coachella. I'm good.
They have a live stream of Coachella. Did you know that?
Yeah, every time I log on. Is it Netflix or Amazon?
I don't know, but I saw it on YouTube.
I keep logging into, maybe it is YouTube, because you pull up the streaming thing on your screen, they always do the 4 stages or whatever live from Coachella.
I have a friend who's a big festival guy. He's gone the last 10 or 12 years in a row.
Yeah, people swear by Coachella.
Yeah,
I will say that live stream, you can see some acts that you wouldn't normally watch, and it's kind of interesting. It might open your eyes to some new stuff.
Yeah,
we can't always just
we can't
play Fleetwood Mac all the time.
Why not?
I had tickets to go 1 year and then sold them to go to a friend's bachelor party in Reno instead.
Okay.
I'm looking here at the lineup, and
yeah, there's a lot of names I don't recognize.
Yeah, and this is my thing. Again,
which is why it's kind of cool to just.
I got Lana Del Rey,
Yeah.
Tyler the Creator,
yeah,
the Deftones. Hey, Doja Cat. I've heard of her, and I actually kind of like some of her stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. Ice Spice, who I know, but I don't.
What, of the Spice Girls?
No. She's like the hot.
Was that an old man
She
question?
was the one with
She's
the
the one
orange
Taylor
hair
Swift.
in the Taylor Swift box during the Super Bowl, and Jason Kelsey
Oh.
was shaking her hand.
I don't get Ice Spice. I don't understand, but there you go. Little Uzi Vert.
Lil Uzi Vert's out there?
Yeah, Kid Cudi. Yeah,
Oh.
DJ Snake.
Oh, okay.
Look, this is not for me.
There was some when I tuned. It's just kind of fun to tune into the live stream because there will be an act on there. You'll inevitably, guys like you and I would inevitably have no idea who they are, and then you watch them for a little bit. I saw this Colombian rapper on there last night, and he was pretty good. I don't remember his name.
I
but
would give anything to see you at a Colombian rap show.
He was good. Here's Doc Rivers on Lillard.
His confidence is literally unshakable. It just really is. You know, it's funny. He loves boxing. That's where we kind of connect because I'm Ali and Frazier. I grew up with boxing, and you know it was good that I was right yesterday. You know, he took Haney, I took Garcia. Clearly, I know more about boxing, but he's got that prize fighter like mentality. It was almost like he was training for the fight, and then when the bell rings, he seems to be ready. That's his mentality, and that's how he plays.
Yeah, well, there you go. Some boxing analogies.
Not impressed with Doc's analogy there?
I don't know. I just know that playoff Lillard, look, that guy, it's got to be a weird transition for him. And you know this wasn't what he wanted. I think some of his comments have been weird. I think he's been in a funk all year. But if there's anything that is going to break him out of it, it's a bunch of people telling him that he's washed, he's no good, and playoff time. Because if there's one thing we know about that dude, that guy is a competitor. And the whole reason he wanted out of Portland is because for this.
Yeah.
And so to go on the biggest stage and drop 35, it wouldn't shock me if he carried them past Indiana. And the weird one was going into that game, you know, everyone was like, well, not only is Milwaukee going to lose, but Dame can't play, but Halliburton had 9 points. You know, and so
I think Indiana, if Giannis doesn't come back, that could be a good series. Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to.
Indiana, I think Indiana either swept them or I mean, they handled them all year.
And the series odds going in were darn near even because of the Giannis factor.
Exactly. And I don't think that's changed just because Lillard went off. It was just cool to see that. You know, it's like if only he could have done that in Portland. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
He did that a million times.
Many, many times.
But he just didn't have enough around him to.
No. And maybe he doesn't now, but if he can find a way to survive this, if they can get past Indiana and Giannis can get the time to heal and come back, maybe Milwaukee's got a big old S-burger for everyone that wrote him off.
Do you think Portland fans were having trouble watching that or liked watching that?
I can only go off of what I know from a handful of my Blazer fans that are friends that are Blazer fans and then Blazer Twitter. I think a lot of people were really happy to see that.
They liked it.
Yes. I think more Blazer fans were happy than not that went down.
A decent little sample size for you. Dirt and Sprague ran a poll starting 20 hours ago. What did you feel more of watching Dame torch the Pacers? Happiness or sadness? 80% happiness on 505 votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Blazer fans are cool like that.
Well, and I think they realized,
they
too.
They don't hold any ill will.
No, and I think they realized that, you know, as crappy as the way that ended, I think a lot of them feel that his hand was forced by the organization. Because the organization right now gets no benefit of the doubt and shouldn't. They just really shouldn't.
All right. We've got a fork in the road here.
Okay.
Now, I've got so many more notes on the NBA playoffs, but good thing we have a show tomorrow.
Yeah. And the next day and the next day.
Because there's a lot to talk about. We haven't even talked about Siege yet. Your boy.
My boy.
Guys, move on.
My boy from the Willamette.
Siege missing the game winner and committing a big foul.
By the way,
and going 9 of 22.
Well, I did watch the end of that.
Classic Siege.
Oklahoma City, they turned it on, and Chet had a ridiculous block at the end of that thing.
Well, I just think that game signifies, you know, it's so easy to reduce the NBA too much.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. At the same time, the last 5 minutes of that game show you what the NBA is all about.
Yeah.
And
One
with
side.
Zion out, one side had a star in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander who made a play or two, and the other team, you credit their coach and CJ and all those guys for playing their ass off. I didn't think they'd beat the Kings.
No. They were competitive all night in that game.
They got rid of the Kings, and they played great against Oklahoma City, but they just didn't have that closer at the end that they could go to. And that's really all it boiled down to, that game.
Yeah.
And that's why they're probably not going to win the series. That's the NBA. SGA, man.
Yeah. Well,
and Siege is just not that guy.
No. He's just nice, and this is the problem that we had in
Unless
Portland.
it's Game 7 against the Nuggets.
You need to win with him being your third best player. And he's a nice third best player.
So the fork in the road is, because we've got plenty more NBA playoff talk tomorrow, but I have to tell you about the team that I was reminded that I hate because I don't really watch in the regular season.
Yeah.
So I flip on the playoffs. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I can't stand these guys.
Interesting.
So we can do that, or we can get to Buckley's privilege story.
I need to hear Buckley's privilege story.
Where Ray King of the Atlanta Braves shouted him down and called him out on his white privilege.
I need to see this. I need to hear this because I have not heard the story. I missed it.
All right. Well, we'll do that. Buckley, you ready to tee up your big Ray King fight?
Sure.
Story?
Yeah.
We'll do that next. Okay?
Let's do it.
All right. It is 5:48 on the Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics, brought to you by Mod.
Did you hear this at Coachella?
The Roots. No, I don't go to Coachella. I just watch the live stream.
Oh, you don't even need to waste your time.
All right, well, let's...
More of a Burning Man myself.
No, you're not.
Like to get those chiggers on me and, do a bunch of acid out in the desert.
First of all, can I say that word's uncomfortable?
Big time. I like glanced up and thought about the dump button for a second.
What?
It's uncomfortable.
Well, I just heard the back half of it.
It's
and
just not. It's too close.
Me a little bit.
It's too close.
They're little bugs.
I know, but it's just sound. It's like
Well, I do have a history, of the whats.
What? You are a racist.
I wish I could have more white things. I'm asking where the white power rankings go. I just have always preferred the whites.
Am I wrong? Didn't Burning Man have an outbreak of chiggers a couple years ago?
Could you mix in a black?
And people had to flee it. They were just getting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine it has an outbreak of a lot of things out there. Now to Ryan Buckley explaining that an Atlanta Braves reliever once recognized his white privilege before any of us even knew it was a thing.
Well, you were telling a story earlier about a heckler. I can't remember, how it came up. It was like the Wizards heckler, or you'd actually.
Suk was talking about the best fan at a game. He was talking about the guy who threw two.
Well, and then you had the story of sitting having the $5 beers, and was it you had a buddy that was heckling?
It was $5 tickets.
Oh, $5 tickets. Excuse me.
And it was. It wasn't a buddy. It was just some guy in the seats in the bleachers at Royal Stadium was heckling Turner Ward of the Brewers. Yeah. And he was really, really, really good at it.
There's an art form
it was funny.
To being a good heckler.
Very funny.
Because someone that just goes and curses at someone is annoying. And you're the guy that's just yelling dumb stuff. But if you get someone that's actually good at it, it's enjoyable for all, including the person he's heckling.
Yeah. So this was like the summer of 2003. And I went to a midweek baseball game with my buddy. It was a Giants-Braves game. The previous night, Barry Bonds had walked off on this reliever, Ray King. It was a lefty specialist for Atlanta. And my buddy and I showed up early for batting practice, and we were just hanging out in the left field bleachers. And Ray King's out there shagging batting practice just like anybody would be, and he's lobbing the baseballs back to the bucket that gets taken in. And at one point I just crack, "Hey Ray, was that the same junk you threw Barry last night?" And he spins on his heel and he walks over to the warning track. Is like, "Let me ask you a question." And I was like, "Oh boy." Because when you say stuff like that, you mostly expect them to just ignore.
Well,
all
exactly.
Of it, so
now did you get shake voice where you're like, Mr.
I
King,
mean, I probably peed a tiny bit, but then but he turned
pee.
around and he asked me, "Let me ask you something. How many pitches have you thrown in the big leagues?"
in your face.
And I said, "Well, none. But at least when I get paid to do a job, I do the job. Can't say the same for you."
Wow.
And then he really didn't like that.
Shots fired.
Yeah. Well, I got defensive, and then he called out my privilege. So then he goes, "Oh, I bet you think you're pretty tough coming in on your BART train, going to Champ Sports to get your little jersey." And I was like, "That's exactly right." I did come in on the little BART train and got my little jersey at Champs.
First of all, can I just say I love Ray King?
Oh, yeah, already. Let's go, Ray King.
He nailed it. But that's a pretty good comeback on your part.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's all I had on the spot.
That's good stuff.
Did you make fun of Ray King's giant head?
So the thing I realized, and I didn't realize this until today, the reason he was so miffed about that, he was like the Barry Bonds tamer. Like Barry Bonds could not hit him. Career 1 for 17 off King with 3 walks. And that walk-off home run the night before. So he was ticked because the thing that he was so good at, getting the best hitter in the game out, he didn't do the night before.
Ray King looks like a left guard, by the way.
He's
Isn't
huge.
That an assumption on your part that's why he was upset?
What's that?
Isn't that an assumption on your part?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's absolutely.
Like it could be
an
anything. Like he could have been going. He could have just been an a-hole. He could have been going through some personal stuff.
Definitely,
Buck. You're such a jerk.
You pushed his button at the wrong time.
Yeah.
That's right. But I wasn't profane. I wasn't crass.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty high level back and forth, right?
That is a good back and forth. I've never had any sort of interaction with like a pro athlete. My all-time best heckle was we had our girls basketball team in high school was like one of the best in the state. So we would beat teams like 80-10 and you could have some fun. And every time this gal on the other team got the ball, we would just all yell, "Shoot it." She'd touch it like in the back court, and we just start yelling, "Shoot." And after about 5 minutes of this, she got the ball right at half court and turned and shot it. and then turned and started like heading towards us, yelling and screaming at us. And of course, we thought this was fantastic. And then her dad came out of the stands and we were asked to leave. And when you're like an idiot, like 17-year-old, that was like the best thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah, you accomplished what you wanted.
Yes, but then she was crying and then we felt really bad.
Yeah, because you didn't think about it because you're 17. You don't think about those consequences.
Well,
and almost an identical one at my high school. We were playing our rival in soccer, and their best player was really good. And we just decided every time she touched the ball, the whole student section would just boo.
Yeah.
And she was crying 15 minutes in, and we're like, oh.
Yeah, you
ooh.
don't
I mean, like,
realize
we weren't trying to up. Yeah. But,
we don't mean to make you cry.
17-year-old me, when that ball let fly from half court, in that moment, I had never experienced anything better in my life.
We got her.
It was amazing. They were like, holy crap,
Wow.
that worked. And then, then you realize you're a jerk. And
it's a learning moment.
It is a learning moment.
You learn.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
how you grow up.
Yeah, we're sorry about that. Well, at 17, you're not even a human being. You're just an animal.
You don't understand anything.
No, you're just an ass. There's no 17-year-old in this world that isn't an ass. You're just not.
All right, let's get to know the 12 Trump trial jurors coming up next to kick off the club on The Fan.
Look, plunking down the cash for new windows.
those at least a day.
They are hard to say no to.
They're so good.
Yes. Well, almond roca is delicious. So you walk by it and it's there, and then you can convince yourself because of how small they are, like, oh, it doesn't even count. 9.
That's right.
9 later, you're like,
I think
whoops.
that's the key.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
No.
It's too small.
It's like negative. It's like negative calories at that point.
How many calories are even in that thing? 5? 2? 1.5?
I'm gonna say for something that small, I'm gonna say that thing is 100 calories.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good trade-off. I will trade 100 calories for that deliciousness.
Yeah.
Now, if you're starting to get into 300-400 calories,
oh well,
I can't do it.
All right. Well, a little more.
Watching my girlish figure.
Yeah. So I'm looking here that apparently that's 200 calories.
Oh, they're 200?
200.
All right. Well, I'll still make the sacrifice.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
No. Oh, no.
They're doing the serving size.
Oh, so how many serving? Why would they do that?
Can I say I hate that?
That is the worst.
Just tell me how.
Yes.
I get it if you're doing chips or something, but an almond roca.
Ooh, I've got the variable scale over here. I can switch it.
Tell me how much is in the one damn almond roca.
In one almond roca, like one piece, it's 66.7 calories, 4.7 grams of fat.
Yeah, because it's 200 calories for 3 almond roca.
Oh,
You're
okay.
legit.
This is great.
You're great.
It's also telling me that it'll take you 18 minutes walking 3 miles per hour to burn that off. Or 9 minutes bicycling 10 miles an hour.
I love when we do, like, it's that kind of math. Like, I'll just burn it off. No, you won't. No, you won't. See those people, they go and they like walk on their run on the treadmill for 25 minutes. And they're like, I earned this muffin Gatorade. And then later that night, you're like, oh, I really earned this burger too. Did you?
Well, this is what people tell themselves when they want something that they know they shouldn't have.
Yes. They always say if you want to lose weight, keep a food journal, and you're forced to reconcile with what you actually eat, because it's usually the stuff in between the meals. You're like, well, that didn't count. That wasn't a meal. Yeah, everything you put in your mouth.
I'm gonna have a shake.
That's a big part of like Weight Watchers formula, because they make you document everything,
Yes.
and that element of it makes you way more aware of what you're doing.
Yes. If you actually have to write down what you're eating, you will all of a sudden be like, holy crap. Like, you think about how many times like you sit down before a meal and you eat, chips and salsa or a handful of nuts.
Basket of bread.
Yeah. You're just like, that doesn't count. That's not my meal. That's just a pregame, let alone drinking. You're drinking your calories.
Well, the other thing too is, it's not your fault.
No. God.
They're trying to make you fat.
Well, and we have such a, like, I'm all for body positivity and feeling good, but this whole you can be healthy at any weight, the hell you can't. It doesn't work that way. You can be healthy at any weight. No, you can't. That's not the way science works. You can feel good about yourself at any weight if you want, but something tells me your internal organs and your knees and everything else are not going to be like, well, I know my cholesterol is shockingly bad, but I'm healthy at any weight because I feel good about myself. It's like we've reached this weird point where we don't want to admit that what we're doing isn't working and there's an epidemic, and we're actively leaning into it too. Like during COVID, the number one thing they told you was for big people. If you're big and you're like big and being old, you can't do anything about being old. You can do something about being big, but like you're not allowed to say that because then you're shaming someone. Well, I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want to do there.
I think the key is you kind of got to learn about food a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's just a lot of bad crap out there that we've been force-fed for a lot of years. And if you don't know any better, it's like it's cheap, it's good. It's like, oh, it's great.
Yep.
But if you really learn about just the differences in, say, for example, small example, sourdough bread versus regular bread, or organic versus non-organic.
White bread.
Or, yeah, like just all that stuff is... pretty enlightening. And it's amazing what it does to your body. Like you feel it, you notice it. It's just very.
But hey,
that's the way. That's the sustainable way to do it.
Hey, we don't need it anymore. We got Ozempic. And that's the,
Yeah, see, that's a whole nother level of bad.
I can eat whatever the hell I want and still lose weight? Yeah, Ozempic, baby. Yeah. Ozempic. You know.
Shut up.
And believe me, I come from a family that has some of the most dysfunctional relationships with food that you can possibly imagine. And it takes you a while to break it, but you can break that. You can break the cycle.
A lot of it's just education.
Yes.
That's what I've come to learn.
Yeah. And realizing that you don't want to weigh 400
And
pounds
habits.
and die of a heart attack. Yes, habits.
You got to change some
Change
habits.
some habits.
All right. Would you like to learn about the 12 Trump jurors?
I can't believe we found 12 impartial jurors.
Dude.
That's impossible, right?
Well, no, I don't think we did. And I think after I read you their quotes, you may agree with me. I don't know. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's stunning to me that there could be 12 people impartial towards him. 12. Everyone has an opinion on him.
Yes.
Good or bad, one way or the other.
Well, who was
there?
it?
Almost is no indifferent.
No,
I'm trying to think of. It might have been. I think it might have been Clay Travis who was like, he was calling
your boy.
He was calling on everyone in New York. He goes,
that's
look,
your boy.
He's like, all you Trumpers, just find a way to get on that jury, and no matter what, not guilty. I'm like, that's illegal, but all right.
That's not how this is supposed to work.
Well, that's how that works, but
Let me pre-decide how I'm going to rule in this trial.
Okay, so the Wall Street Journal had this. Juror number 12 said, quote, I have no opinions until I am presented with the information in the courtroom, end quote.
Lies!
This is a woman who is a physical therapist. She says her news sources are CNN, and she listens to sports and faith podcasts.
Oh,
Her hobbies are paddleboarding with her husband and their dog.
Well, I really enjoy the show. Thank you. Bye.
So she's full of
I
crap,
feel
right?
like she has a Labradoodle, by the way.
Is she not
Nothing
full of
wrong
crap?
with that.
I mean,
She's full of crap.
Seems like it a little bit.
I have no opinions until I am presented with the information in the courtroom. Look, that sounds nice,
but
that sounds like you're trying to get on the jury.
Yeah.
Like that.
But what else?
Right.
Like, what do you want her to say?
That's right. And that's what I come to learn after I read through these for you guys. You'll hear. You realize there really is no way to get a truly impartial jury. You just have to trust what people say.
Well, this is why I've always been terrified to go to a serious trial. Is I'm convinced that the only way to get on a jury nowadays is prove that you are a moron that pays attention to nothing. And now I'm putting my fate in those people's hands. That terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me.
Do you remember the story I told you about when I was in the jury box?
When you were in the jury box.
So I went in, and I actually really think...
Because it was like a theft. If someone stole a trailer or something.
He stole a trailer, yeah. Well, when you go to jury duty, you just have to sit there in a room with a bunch of other people, and 95% of them, their name never gets called, right?
Yeah.
So it's really boring and stupid. I wanted to get called. I want to go see... I think the judicial system is interesting. I like being in a...
Rob's
I do.
Get me on that jury.
I think it's cool to be in a courtroom and watch... these judges are kind of badass, it's just... The whole operation is interesting to me.
Sure.
So I got in there, and I was in the jury box. I was one of 12 people that they put in there. Now, each attorney gets the opportunity to get rid of...
Yeah, you can dismiss a certain
several
number.
jury.
They ask you questions,
Jurors,
and they're like,
yeah.
"Nah, I don't like the cut of his jib."
So the defense attorney, I passed his muster. I don't remember what he asked, but the prosecution came up, and she starts walking in the jury box between us, and she says, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you all to tell me how much sense you have to get out of the rain. Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being I'm leaving the rain. It's
such a weird question.
Very weird, but it wasn't about the question.
Yeah.
So she asked this, and in my head, I'm the second person up. There's one guy in front of me, and then there's me. We're going to go in order. And in my head, I'm like, well, what a dumb question. 10.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of the rain.
Absolutely.
I don't like being rained on.
Yeah. Seems simple
This
enough.
is what I'm thinking in my head. The first guy goes 6. And I'm like, what are you, an idiot?
This is my point about jurors.
And then she comes to me, and right before I answer, she goes, wait, I just want to say one thing. She says, in all my years of doing this and asking this question, nobody ever says 10. That's what she said.
I don't see how.
And then what do I do?
You say 10.
10.
I went 10, bitch!
Asachi says 10.
Instantly deleted.
Yeah.
For that.
And
do you know why?
Resourceful little bitch.
Yeah, because they don't want absolutes, right?
Well, I think it's either that or it's I was coerced into saying 10.
Oh.
Because
even though you weren't, you were already going to say it, but you could see it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She saw it as if I say this, the next person usually says 10. That means they can be talked into saying 10.
She found Isaac her show pony, and she didn't want any part of it.
That's right. She knew that defense attorney had me in his hip
Interesting.
pocket.
I assume that you don't want people that are absolute one way or the other. You want people that are more towards the middle, because if you're, well, maybe I could be in the rain, maybe I couldn't. You have to, those are the people that seem,
But
malleable.
who says that? What would you have said?
10.
Exactly.
Getting out,
that was the weirdest experience of my life.
Because deciding how you feel about a BLT, you could be met, but rain, murder, theft, it's
I'm
binary.
gonna get out of the rain.
often.
Who wants to be in the rain?
Yes or no?
Could I ask the question, are we doing something cool in the rain? Are there up tops involved? I don't know.
Stupid.
Well, and I often wonder this, just let's say I go into there is a murder trial, right? If I go in to jury duty and I shave my beard and put on a long sleeve shirt and coat, so you don't see any of my tattoos, my beard is shaved, I gotta believe that I am a completely different juror than if I show up with my beard the way it normally is, and even if I'm wearing, right now I'm wearing a collared shirt, and I show up with that because you can see all of my arm tattoos, you can see a tattoo on my chest, and my beard, I 100% believe that I could be eliminated just based on me showing up. And all that is what I decided to wear and whether or not I shave.
I don't know that they can do that, though.
Oh, I think they can.
But I think he's got whoever the attorney is, if they look at you and go, ooh, that's not my guy, they have to find a way to get you out of there. I don't think they can just say, oh, look at him, he's gone.
I thought you got a couple just throwaways, for whatever reason, I just don't want them. And then I thought there are others that you could argue, this person's biased, this person, whatever. But I think you do get a couple, this is just my call, I don't need a reason. I think you do get that.
I think you get a couple, right at the get-go. You're like, nope.
I'm going to get rid of all the women. I'm going to get rid of all the black guys.
Well, I mean, there is an element of that where the racial makeup, people go into these trials. My dad was a prosecutor for years. Talks about that jury makeup is the sneaky key to successful defenses or prosecutions.
I can see that.
It makes a difference.
Well, the other thing, the text line saying here, during the OJ trial, the prosecution specifically mentioned how they had to take people who would be willing to spend more time away from their daily lives. Consequently, they got a much less educated group who was not at all familiar with DNA, easily manipulated by the defense, etc.
Yeah.
And so I think even if it's people who have busy lives, if you get jurors who are annoyed because they have to be there, that's problematic for the lawyers who are arguing it. You need people who are okay being there.
Do you think she didn't like that I had my powdered wig on in the jury box? Maybe that's what it was. The judge was upstaged.
God, you show up with a powder wig and are like, I am ready to rule.
I am the juror.
The rule juror.
Objection. The judge in that case was a badass too. He was like this older white dude, big guy, and he was intense up there. I thought he was awesome. Shout out whoever you are.
Yeah.
He was like, you're dismissed.
I've only been in the courtroom for one trial, and it was a rape trial, and I too was like, holy, because
it's a scene, man.
It is a scene, intense. And I was like, holy crap, this dude's life is on the line here, and it was as the first time I'd sat in a courtroom, and I was enthralled, but at the same time equally terrified, and I was so nervous about making any noises and I told this, but
you didn't fart.
No, I was afraid to cough because the judge was a lady and she was it was iron fist time, and there was a big pillar. It was in downtown Vancouver, and it really bothered me. There was a big pillar right in the middle of the courthouse, so a lot of times I couldn't really see, so I kept doing the lean, the lean around, so I could see. And
Who were you looking at?
Well, the
judge?
No, where they were the stand. When they were
the stand,
the person on the stand, I couldn't really see the person on the stand or the attorneys. So I kept doing the lean around, like trying to get a better view, and I felt like the judge was looking at me, and then I got scared. So then I just stared at the. She scared me. She was probably looking at someone else.
No, she was looking at you.
But I was like, well, I
She
can't.
didn't like your shenanigans.
I can't see, so I was just trying to lean, and I felt like she was getting ready to tell me to knock it off, and so I got so scared I just sat there and stared at the pillar. I was really intimidated.
It's a very serious space.
It is.
And it's kind of cool.
I wasn't prepared for
it. Okay, so we only got through one juror.
One.
Okay, so she's a physical therapist. She said, I have no opinions until I'm presented with the information in the courtroom. Okay, we'll learn about the other 11 Trump trial jurors next on The Fan.
The home of dirt and sports.
So juror number 12. Okay, so where was that?
Juror 1 sounds like a lot of fun at parties, as someone said. The Make Group 4 text
No,
line.
she's juror number 12.
Oh, juror number 12.
Yeah,
We're going backwards.
We're going backwards.
Remember, one juror has already asked to be off because like her information was getting leaked, and she's like, I ain't dealing with this crap.
Yeah, she got out of there.
But I don't want. That's one jury that I do not want to be on, because some wackadoo is going to show up at my door one way or the other.
Juror number 11 on Trump, quote, how he is in public and how he himself portrays himself in public, it is not my cup of tea.
Okay.
This is a woman. She is a product developer at an apparel company.
And she made it on, huh?
She's from California. Her news source, she says, is the Nightly News, and her hobbies are traveling and exploring New York and eating.
Huh.
She sounds like a liberal.
Yeah, well, I mean, but to be fair, I mean, obviously he's got women that like him, but unless you're a hardcore Republican, I would assume that not a lot of ladies.
Well, that's why I don't understand how it's possible to even get an impartial jury, which he does deserve.
Exactly. But like, that's my point is like, how I got to be careful with this, but like his whole thing is he's on trial for sleeping with a porn star while his wife just gave birth. Like,
I know, right? What woman is going to be? The first two are women.
Yeah, I think if I'm a Trump attorney, I would think I want men that are like, hey, look at, you know.
Well, there are more men than women.
Yeah, I think that I'm assuming that men are pigs and that you would want more men on the jury than women. But
juror number 10, quote, I don't have a strong opinion about Mr. Trump, end quote. He is a man. He works for an e-commerce company. He's from Ohio. His news source, he says he does not follow the news, but if anything, it's the New York Times. And the fact about him is he likes animals.
Well, I mean, I would say originally I was like, okay, that's kind of what you're looking for if you're Trump.
It's like Jeopardy. Tell us one interesting thing about yourself.
But the New York Times.
So weird. He likes animals. Like, it's so vague.
I know. It's odd.
I like turtles.
I just think all these people are full of it. Okay, juror 9 on Trump. Quote, I do not agree with a lot of his politics and his decisions as president, but I could leave that at the door and be a totally impartial juror, end quote.
Well, and that's
what you're going to have to
honestly,
get. Like I said, you just have to believe them.
Best.
When somebody says that, you have to believe them.
And I'm being dead serious on this. I'm not a fan. I do think, in all honesty, I think I could be an impartial juror. As long as it wasn't something involving like kids. I think I could be not convinced. I think I could do the job of put all the stuff aside. Did they lay out a case that I can say he's guilty? Look at the facts.
Yeah.
I think I could do that.
I think I could generally. Not
It'd be
with
tough
him.
with him.
Not with him.
I get it.
I'm out on that dude.
Well, like I said, he is.
He's the worst.
He's tough.
So she is a woman, speech therapist. She is from New Jersey. Her news sources are New York Times, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Her hobbies, she likes, so you can tell she's younger, right?
Yes.
Her hobbies, she likes to hang out with friends, go to restaurants, and watch TV. So pretty normal.
Yeah, but again, I don't think, none of these sound like people that the Trump team would want, I wouldn't think.
Juror 8, quote, I don't think too much about politics.
All right, well,
This is a man. He's retired, previously worked in wealth management.
There you go. That's the guy. That's the one you want.
His news sources are BBC, CNBC, among other outlets. His hobbies are fly fishing, skiing, yoga, and meditation.
You don't like the yoga and meditation, but...
Fly fishing.
Yeah. Originally, that was who you want. Finance guy,
the old retired white guy.
Doesn't care. Like, that's... Because remember, you don't need... I think you just need one that refuses to convict, right? Go hung jury style.
Yeah, just one.
So that right there, that's the one. If you're a Trumper, I think that's the one you're holding on to. Old rich guy.
Here's another man, juror number 7. I quote, I have political views as to the Trump presidency. I do not have any particular opinions about him personally. End quote.
How is that possible?
I couldn't agree more. I don't think that is possible.
That seems harder than not being biased at all.
I think he's lying, but at the same time, well, they put him on there. He's a male lawyer from North Carolina. He says his news sources are the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and his hobbies, he enjoys spending time outdoors with his children.
I just love, like you, Buck said, tell us one thing, the dating app
These
thing.
people all seem really boring.
What would be your one?
I like to party.
I like to party with 2 hours extra mayo.
I'm going to show you my boobs. Juror 6, quote, Trump and I probably have different beliefs, but I don't think that invalidates anything about who he is as a person. This is a woman. She is a software engineer from New York. And her news sources are TikTok, Facebook, and the New York Times.
Can I just tell you that terrifies me? Anyone whose news sources are TikTok and Facebook.
Is Facebook really a news source?
Oh, yeah, it is.
That's where everyone conducted their own research during COVID,
I'll
remember?
tell you what, I think I'd rather someone's news source be Facebook than TikTok, but either that is...
Her hobby, snowboarding.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Juror number 5. President Trump speaks his mind. I would rather that in a person than someone who's in office and you don't know what they are doing behind the scenes. This is a woman. She is a teacher at a charter school. She's a native New Yorker. Her news sources are Google and TikTok. She says, I don't like news or newspapers.
Yeah, well,
and her hobbies are photo shoots with her friends.
Dare I say that may be the best Trump jury that we, or
For him.
That may be the best one so far.
She seems like she could be a little bit of a Karen.
The first part of what you read sounded very much like she'd be voting along those party lines.
Yeah. Well, the idea of like, well, he speaks his mind. I don't care what he says, but he's...
I'd way rather have someone that marches to the beat of their own drum than some vanilla nobody.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't talk like any of those other politicians. What?
He's going to drain the swamp.
Juror number 4. They asked, does this person have strong feelings about Trump? Quote, no, not really. This is a man, security engineer for 25 years. News sources are scattering of all things here and there, and his hobbies are woodworking and metalworking.
Okay. So just...
Milk toast guy?
Yeah, I guess.
Juror number 3, quote, I don't think I need to read someone's mind to determine their intent, or at least make a good guess as to it.
Confusing, but okay.
This is a male lawyer from Oregon.
Hey.
News sources, the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, and shockingly, he enjoys hiking and running.
I'm waiting for someone to just Newsmax. All I listen to is Newsmax, and that's it.
Juror number 2, quote, I might not like some of his policies, but there has been some good for the United States. This is a man, he's an investment banker. He likes hiking, music, and concerts. News sources, he reads basically everything and follows Michael Cohen, Trump, and anyone who might affect markets on social media.
Huh. All right. Well,
I bet you the Trump people like that guy.
I would assume so.
And then the last one is juror number 1. Has juror number 1 heard of the other criminal case against Trump? Quote, I've heard of some of them. End quote.
Well, there's a lot.
Which is a funny question.
Yes.
He is a male. He is in sales. He's originally from Ireland. His news sources are the New York Times, Fox News, and MSNBC. Hobbies, anything outdoors. And those are your 12 Trump trial jurors.
Well, I mean...
How do you feel about that?
I don't think it sounds like a great... I mean, there's so little to go on, but it doesn't sound like a great jury for Trump. But again, you just need 1 or 2.
And they might have some support for maybe 2 or 3.
This is how dumb I am. I was under the impression that you couldn't know anything about the subject.
No.
In other words, in him being a U.S. president...
Yeah, everyone's going to know something.
Right, so I didn't really know how they, like, what the qualifications were there. Like, how do you navigate that? And it sounds like they just
like there are certain
trust what you're saying to them.
Yeah, there are certain things that will eliminate you.
So you could easily get on the jury if you knew what the right things to say.
Yes, and it is upon the at that point is it upon the attorney to make sure that someone who's poisoning the jury pool isn't on there. And you can get eliminated if they feel that you're doing that or you're trying to get on it. But yeah, I mean you can't just have 12 people that know absolutely nothing. It just comes down to, can you be fair and impartial and put aside prejudice. God, why can't I say that? Put aside your prejudice. I'm going to go with that and rule on the facts. And that's why I said, I think I actually might be able to do that. Where I could say, look, I may not like the guy or agree with him, but look, this is what he's on trial for. And by the way, it does seem like I'm not trying to cast any sort of disparaging thing here. It certainly sounds like his own argument is everybody does it. Like, we're not disputing that I did it because you know that I did it. It was just like,
Which sounds like an admission of guilt.
Well, I mean...
We did it, but everyone does is not a defense.
That seems to be the only defense. It's like, yeah, I did it, but I can't believe you're prosecuting me for this. Like, that is the defense right now.
Someone said on the text line, the whole trial isn't even about him. It's about the interpretation of this specific law. What he did isn't in question. We know what he did. Was it a campaign finance infraction? Yes or no? Did it violate a law? And he's right about that.
And I think if you put any of us up there to interpret that law and whether it was broken, I think we could do it. I think personal biases aside, I think if you're just talking about that infraction, it shouldn't be that hard for 12 people to decide whether he did or didn't do it. But here we are.
Well, what about the other 5 trials?
Different story.
I just know you couldn't find me a case that I would rather be on less than that one.
Which, you mean
this one right here.
Why?
Any of the ones involving him.
China.
Because I don't want my name stamped to that at all. I just...
Yeah. I want no part of it.
Nope. I want no...
Too hot?
Well, it's so divisive.
Too
and
hot
it's,
in the kitchen?
Yeah, I just don't... I don't trust someone not to leak my information. I don't want Alex Jones up my key. I want nothing to do with this.
Trump may off you.
Exactly. Now that Brian Koberger one that's going on in Idaho right now.
Is he on trial?
Yeah, he's on trial.
I think it's supposed to start in June, that trial?
Yeah, I was reading today that the defense attorney, because I guess in some states you have to outline what your defense is. You have to say, hey, this is what we're going to say. And he likes taking drives at night by himself.
Yeah, they're going to maintain that he did not do it.
Yeah, they're going with I turn off my cell phone and drive around certain neighborhoods all the time. I am fascinated
What do
by...
you got to lose?
Well, and that's my thing. I am often fascinated by defense attorneys who come up with the most absurd things, and yet Casey Anthony, it worked.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean,
the juice.
Well, yeah, his was just... we know why that happened. But the affluenza kid... Someone sat in like if you were to sit there and tell me, hey, some rich 15-year-old piece of crap got drunk and mowed down a bunch of people, and our defense is going to be he's too rich to know right from wrong, I would have laughed your ass out of that courtroom, and yet it worked. So I mean, why not? I mean, you come up with a defense the best you can, and you throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
Saying that trial might not happen until 2025.
Yeah.
The Coburg one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just saw today that they are the defense is saying, hey, this is how we're gonna do it.
If they were questioning you for the Trump trial and they asked you favorite hobby, would you say 2 girls at the same time?
Are you trying to
spice it up a little?
Are you trying to get off the jury? Maybe say porn, classic Euro porn. I don't know.
They wouldn't like that?
It happens. Well, the jury or the trial is about a porn star, so I'm guessing no.
Don't get me wrong, I like the tatted up whore too.
All right.
Golf,
All right.
insurrections, January 6th. I don't know.
Yeah, big fan of storming the Capitol.
Look, I'm pretty sure
my hobby.
I'm pretty sure I could get off any jury.
Yeah, again, it's just like you just got to know the right things to say.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No.
And most people, I will say, when I was doing it,
they don't want it, right?
Oh, dude, there was a lot of people that were trying to get out of there, making up stuff, and
I've never been even called it. Well, I got called to jury duty, but I was moving from county to county, and so.
Well, like I said, when you get called,
I've never done it.
It doesn't mean you're actually going to get in there.
Yeah.
You just sit around and
But
wait.
I've never even been called to jury duty except for that one time, and because I moved, I was didn't have to show up.
Bitch and wave, bro.
Yeah.
That's next. Here's Buck.
This is Draft Week on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Brought to you by Crunch Fitness.
White lacked the premeditation and deliberation elements necessary to establish first-degree murder. He was ultimately convicted of a lighter offense of involuntary manslaughter.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he ate too many Twinkies.
He ate too many Twinkies.
So now, any sort of defense, they're saying that term kind of has been associated with any sort of medical-related defense.
Yeah.
You might hear them say it's a Twinkie defense.
I just don't get how people can be so stupid to buy crap like this. Again, the affluenza thing, I watched that Casey Anthony trial. Blows my mind that you got 12 jurors to look at that and be like, don't think she did it. Like, this just goes to show why I'm just terrified of going to, like, having my life in someone else's hands. 12 jurors, because I'm convinced that the vast majority of randos that end up on these things are morons. Absolute morons.
It's supposed to be a jury of your peers. You look around, you're like, these ain't my peers.
No. That's why I said, like, we think that I say this all the time. We fall into this trap of thinking that the people you associate with are the average Americans. And they're not.
That's your echo chamber.
You need to go to a bus stop at like midnight. Go to a Walmart sometime at 11:30 on a Thursday. And you'll find out that what you think is the average American is not. And realize that whatever, and by the way, vice versa. If you're one of those people that's in Walmart at 11:30 on a Thursday, and you've got some rich dude from Camas or Lake O, and they're on your, it's the same thing. Like, that's not a jury of your peers. Like, go back and look through the history of America. It's really sad when you see, like, African Americans on trial, like in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, and some people would say even today. And you look around, and it's like a jury of my peers. And it's just like 12 angry white men from 1964 sitting on trial of a black guy. And they're just like, oh, I can't wait for this one. It's just, and I understand that there's, it's better than most systems out there. But, boy, I struggle with sometimes the amount of crap that gets by as the defense. Even he wasn't, like, what was the guy that was recently? There was a guy at a mental hospital, and he's like, hey, I want to bash a woman over the head with a rock. And then he gets out, and as he's leaving, he picks up a rock and bashes the woman in the head. And they're like, well, he can't stand trial. Why the hell not? He said he was going to bash a woman in the head with a rock. He bashed a woman in the head with a rock, and like, nah, he's not.
Well, as his attorney, I think the Twinkie defense fits perfectly. He eats too many Twinkies.
Not guilty by reason of insanity. Then put his crazy ass inside a prison. He won't know the difference.
And wasn't it that they couldn't hold him there anymore because they're like, well, we've done all we can do. We got to release him now.
Put Woody Woodpecker's ass in the cell and tell him that it's a Chuck E. Cheese. If he's really crazy, well, cool. Then you won't mind sitting in prison because you bashed a woman in the head with a rock. Yeah.
Somebody said, why the hell would I want a jury of my peers? Craig from Wingstop is not my peer. Give me a jury of people educated in law. Why not have full-time jurors as a job?
See, I tend to agree with that, but then we get into a whole, there's a whole.
How do you apply?
Yes.
That's tough.
Yes.
Lobbying for jurors.
I will tell you what, and I know
I'd be a full-time juror.
It's very unconstitutional, but if you ask me, which would I rather have? Craig from Wingstop and a jury of my peers, or 12 people that are like 6 public defenders, 6 prosecutors, and I will take that every time.
Give me 12 kids who just passed the bar at age 26 or whatever. I don't care.
100%.
Give me a couple of people that can read and interpret something. Again,
Hundo P.
Terrifies me.
All right, we'll be back to wrap it up after this on The Fan. Hey, it's Rob sticking around for Window Nation. Weather impacts your windows. Hot days, cold nights. They can cause caulk to crack, seal failures, condensation. Window Nation only uses top-of-the-line embroiled in it all. So in surfing, they always fight about this.
Yeah, there's no measuring stick that you can go out there and ask the wave to stand still.
But it's generally thought that the largest waves are, and I watched a documentary on this place once. It's nuts. It's a place in Portugal, and this is where he rode this wave.
I've watched this. This is amazing.
Nazaré,
is that it?
Nazaré. Anyway, there's I think it was a docu series, wasn't it? About
I think you're thinking of Point Break, and that's Bells Beach, Australia.
What?
Shot here in Oregon.
I believe that was a documentary as well. Is that not? No?
What was that doc?
I remember watching one on Mavericks, and that's another surfing spot. That one's in California.
Was it called the 100-Foot Wave? Is that it?
Yes, 100-Foot Wave. Yes.
2 seasons of that series.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty good.
I think I watched season 1, but not 2.
Well, these waves are so. Remember, years ago, we had Laird Hamilton on, and he was like one of the pioneers of this because these waves up until this point were unrideable because you couldn't. The wave was going too fast, and now they tow them in on like jet skis, and you can get up to speed to where you can even attempt to ride these things. Yeah. And it just, you look at them, and it just, like I said, it's something out of a cartoon. It looks CGI.
Would you even want to be the guy on the jet ski?
Nope. All the nose. Imagine the force of a 93-foot wave and what happens if something goes wrong. Nah, I'm good, man. Hard no. All the no's.
No. Strong no.
By the way, on a completely unrelated note, this came across my timeline, though, and I thought it was great. The over-under on Karis LeVert tonight was 8.5 points. He had 8 in the first quarter. Didn't score another point.
Just like that Lillard one.
Did Lillard not go over with... He had 35 in the first half. And
there was a bet going viral of somebody who had over 35.5 to make $1,000 or something like that, and he had 35 at the half and didn't score again.
That's why gambling sucks.
Giveth and it taketh. Someone's out there with a LeVert, and they're like,